He won't mind that. It won't be the first time. It's not the first time, it won't be the last. We're underway. It is Jeff White in his 250th against Luke Darcy. And coming in very hard was Russell Robertson off the line to let everybody know that he's back in harness.
That's another statement, Tim. Robertson flying in off the line there. He didn't make contact with anyone, but the intention was to.
Dale Morris is
coming in there.
Ooh.
And luckily Scotty West had hit the deck.
Well, he is lucky. Robertson's lucky and West is lucky that contact wasn't made. Darcy, soon to be a former Bulldog champion, gives to Hargrave from a long way. It was a good kick, but it's offline, and the first score is a minor.
And here's that centre bounce. Robertson coming in just over the top of Scotty West. And that's good to see a bit of spirit by these Demons. They need to show that. Their last 4 games they've been hammered by the opposition.
So the Demons taking a while to sort out their approach for the weekly kick in. And he's gone over. So not exactly a confidence boosting start for what is a pretty important part of a team's structure and the way they're going to go about a game, Morsey, early on.
Yeah, Bulldogs have started with Wade Skipper down there in the goal square, Luke Darcy doing the ruck work, and Robert Murphy playing up forward.
And the Demons, no doubt, will look to rush it through and reset. But young Tiller has got other ideas. He's just popped up over the last couple of weeks, kicked a couple on debut. Last week had 8 possessions but took 5 marks, so he's just been handy through the first couple of weeks of his career.
Well, the Demons tried to belt that through for a rush behind, not able to fist it far enough, so the ball stayed alive. Ackermanis able to keep it in play. Rodney Eade would be pretty happy with that.
Mark
This looks
Jamar,
like pretty serious stuff, Tim, doesn't it?
Hasn't been on yet. And the back getting a serious workout. Melbourne's stats board is bare after the first couple of plays of the game. In fact, 3 plays. There was a secondary bounce, then a score. Now the Demons have got the ball, but they still haven't disposed of it. So it's a flying start by the Bulldogs.
And we mentioned in the opener, Tim, that the openings have been terrible for the Demons over the last month, so they need to do much better tonight.
Don't hold.
Steve McBurney with Chris Camelins and Matthew Nichols in charge. Darcy prominent early. He's not able to get it onto his boot. White squeezing it to Pickett. Now the Demons are away. Neat's on the lead. Couldn't quite hang on. Harris his opponent. McMahon there the matchup for the dangerous Davey. Hargrave shunted by Pickett. McMahon, Davey over him. A willing looking Melbourne front half now. Oh, and Byron Pickett is making his presence felt. There'll be a ball up.
He's thrown it up, the umpire.
Kept it moving. Boyd trying to squeeze a kick out of there. It looked like a throw from Darcy, but gets the AOK from the umpire. Cooney and Boyd move into action. Looks like McDonald might be trailing him as the ball goes over and out. Ben Holland back in the square. Chris Grant playing in defence for the Dogs in the opening. Darcy got it down. Cooney, Ackermanis. Not surprising to hear that sort of reaction from the crowd. McDonald wasn't able to get a constructive ball forward, and now Cooney's trying to stream away, but getting away from Aaron Davey is another matter altogether. Higgins, West and Acker involved. We know he can go beautifully on the left side as well. Propping was Eagleton, playing looks like some sort of a lead-up forward role, and the ball over and out. The Dogs doing the only scoring so far.
Jason Ackermanis playing as a half forward. Daniel Bell, his opponent. Bell's a very good player. It'll be a tough night for Acker.
Carroll climbing in, and it was a nicely directed punch to Jones. Nathan Brown they brought down, and there'll be a ball up. So the Bulldogs making the early running here. Pressing forward again. Skipper against White. Skipper good body position. Carroll giving it up to Higgins, who in turn gave it away, and the Demons are away. Nathan Jones. Oh, bad fumble by Robertson. Jones has to come back and help him out.
You just wonder though, Tim, why would Jones handball to Robertson when he's running directly towards his own goals? He just puts a teammate under pressure.
And it wasn't a good hand pass either. The height all wrong. Skipper climbing over White that time, but the ball not coming clear. So not easy to get a clean disposal in the early part of the night. The Bulldogs probably playing to be in the 8 at the end of the round. St Kilda's game in Sydney tonight will of course have a say in that. Jones to White and helped on by Robertson. Brown thrown after disposal.
No advantage, like the round kick.
And we'll take a free kick for the Demons.
Got a couple of options this time. Wheatley the most obvious. Robertson pushing. Could come into play here. And he's got a couple of metres on West. Will he back himself? Ben Holland was the obvious target. But Robertson can smell a goal. And we know when he gets a sniff, he'll go for it.
Well, he's a dangerous player. You can just see Robertson marks out in space. His opponent is Dale Morris, and you just wonder how he got lost. And it was a good play by Robertson to back himself, run, carry, and from where he kicked the ball, he would probably kick 6 out of 10. He was entitled to have a shot. And down there in the Demon goal square, you can see Chris Grant playing in that back pocket position on Dutchy Holland. Brian Harris playing on Neats.
Cooney having a swing, but there was a hold. It's the Bulldogs' ball. And it'll come back to Boyd to take it.
Yeah, I'm watching them both ways.
Boyd being held there by Lyndon Dunn. Such a good player, Boyd, in the Bulldogs' comeback against St Kilda last round. Now Morris gives to Cooney.
And McDonald tagging Cooney.
And the Bulldogs playing the short game here, as they did for much of the night against St Kilda. And John Siracusa gives Ackermanis a chance to have the first real say of the night in his little battle with those who would come along and boo him. I've got to say, I think it's an immature reaction. I think, well, the head of the World Anti-Doping Authority has taken enough interest to say Ackermanis shouldn't be criticised for coming out and saying he reckons he's played against a drug cheat. Acker has a miss. The Dogs lead by 2 points.
And he hasn't named anybody, Tim.
Quite right.
And you may well say he has the game's interests at heart.
You may also say, though, that hasn't been entirely fair on Michael Braun.
Oh, absolutely, Hutter, absolutely. But I'm not saying that indirectly that's Ackermanis' fault. How that name came out wasn't through Ackermanis.
Ferguson along the line that we know of anyway, and the ball is out on the wing. So the Bulldogs lead by 2, and the Demons would be encouraged, I think, by their opening, even though they've been probably less than convincing. At least they're being competitive at this stage. Jamar into the thick of the action, and McDonald, who's been a warhorse again for them this year, averaged 23 possessions as he did last year. I don't think anyone would argue he's been as effective as last year. It's been played in a vastly different team. So the second ruckman going at it again, and Jamar again getting it down to McDonald.
And the Doggies have brought Andrew McDougall on. There he is there, former West Coast Eagles player. Just played the 2 games this year for the Bulldogs. Big strapping fellow.
Been playing in defence in the VFL, Wolsey, a fair bit in the last month.
I think the Bulldogs have been disappointed with his season overall, but he gets opportunity tonight.
West. John Siracusa kicked 4 last week. Murphy played in defence, but tonight he's part of this rotating forward line. Higgins in his mind. Young Tiller's ready to go if he's called into action. Bit of a haphazard handball in the end. John Siracusa. Good strong work by Nathan Brown initially, and now there's no way forward for Higgins, so we'll get a ball up.
Willing contest there. Ferguson came very hard at John Siracusa. Good to see from the Melbourne defence. Still with a job to do, but Carroll is able to do it for them quite competently there. Now Ray taking it away from goal and working it inside to Cooney. Bulldogs doing a lot of attacking for not much result so far. Just the 1 goal in the early moments. Skipper, good left foot kick for a big man, but that wasn't his tidiest effort. Newton swings it away for Melbourne, and it's a push in the back against Hargrave. Sylvia having to run a long way to get the ball. It was a feather touch in the back that under this inflexible ruling had to be paid as a free kick. Sylvia sitting it up, and fine mark by Holland. Out positioning Grant. Can line them up.
Couple of big bodies there, Tim, and when you've got a big player like Holland, he just got the early contact on Chris Grant and then was able to hold his ground. Didn't get off the ground, the ball came on top of him, but he's got big hands. He is a cumbersome type of a kick, but he can kick accurately.
To put the Demons in front. And he does kick accurately. Melbourne second. They lead. Couple of swing men, Holland and Grant, could just as easily be playing against each other at the other end of the ground.
And might even be by the end of the night.
Two veterans, Tim, who just cannot get off the ground.
Some might have thought he wouldn't be playing too many games for the rest of the year once we knew Melbourne was out of it, but Ben Holland's kicked 8 goals now in the last 4 weeks.
Wade Skipper doing the ruck work for the Bulldogs. He replaces Luke Darcy, who's gone to the interchange bench. McDougall now at full forward for the Bulldogs.
6-man forward line for the Dogs, 4-man for the Demons. Let's see which structure can work. Newton, clever in the hands. Jamar Jones had to release it quicker. Good tackling. Newton followed up his work, got it down to these two big boys again. Ben Holland kicked the last one, and unfortunately can't get that one through. And the Demons, the Dogs, not put off by their rush behinds last week, walk one through, although that was a fair bit of pressure for Harris.
Good long ball from Hargrave, well waited for Cooney. Melbourne coming out and showing they mean business tonight. That's a poor kick. Jamar in the way, gives to Green, and now Ferguson up from defence, and this looks good for Melbourne. Robertson, who kicked their first goal, swings it. Davey was in good position, and he was held.
Now, Melbourne's going to have a shot for goal, and Adam Cooney, who kicked that ball from half-back, a long kick into the centre square, it was just a ridiculously risky kick. Intercepted by the Demons, and they rebound it, and if this goal is scored, well, Adam Cooney's got a bit of thinking to do.
Davey,
that's terrible.
He's passed it. He's done it deliberately. Holland just standing on his own. Kicks his second. The Demons lead by 11 points. Where was Chris Grant?
Well, there's the Cooney kick. That is a ridiculous kick to square a ball up like that to a dangerous situation. And, of course, they rebound it.
Gee, that's a tough call for a free kick, isn't it?
Well, McMahon was arguing the toss, as we heard.
And we see that. Now, the reason why Holland hasn't got an opponent is because Chris Grant has been taken from the field.
Robert, he actually ended up limping from the field and down into the rooms with the doctor, so he's obviously got an injury of some sort.
Bad timing, wasn't it, for the Dogs? And not a bad scoreline as far as the Demons are concerned. West able to escape out of the middle. Big Skipper helps it on its way. And they've got it to half forward. Murphy, Frawley in his trail. Devoid of any meaningful options forward. Cross, who started on the bench. McDougall's calling for it deep, but Cross decided that it's best to go back before forward. Oh, Hargrave! Lucky to get away with a kick. There's Big Skipper. Demons circling here. Eagleton on his wrong side. Everyone knew it. Just got out of trouble. But they're not out of trouble by a long shot. Green, Johnston improvising. And it's reasonably effective. Newton trying to be the funnel into attack. That time Hargrave had his measure. Cross, Everett, who looks remarkably comfortable at the level so far in his 5 games. Indulges in a bounce there, maybe getting a little bit too comfortable. There's Big Wade Skipper. Power, Cooney, he's just hacked it in there, well, and that's what it looks like.
That is another bad kick by Cooney. That is just a dumb kick. You just bomb it away, and it's to a 2-on-1 situation in favour of the opposition. Adam Cooney probably needs the coach to get him off the ground and have a good talking to.
Holland working his way up the ground, a bit big for Cross, just couldn't hang on. Johnston there though. And he uses the ball with great skill. Pickett just not able to collect at the first go. Did pretty well though. His strong legs stood him in good stead. Neitz just couldn't get rid of Harris. Shoveled out by McMahon to Ray. West going under the tackle. McMahon still there with him. And now Ray. And the Bulldogs weather that storm, or do they? Ray having to beat off Davey, who comes again. Cooney, third time lucky. It looks better off the boot, and it hits the target in Murphy. It's a bad start for the Bulldogs. They kicked the first goal, conceded 3 straight since.
There's Tom Williams. Williams has been moved onto that last line of defence to play on Holland, who's already kicked 2.
Here's Murphy at 25 touches, streaming out of defence last week, and that's the sort of stuff he was doing. Higgins comes out to take the mark. Hasn't kicked a goal for a few weeks, has Higgins, but he has kicked 20 for the year.
20 goals, 8 behinds, Hutto, so that suggests he's a pretty accurate shot for goal.
No goals for the last 3 weeks, in fact, for young Sean Higgins in his second season.
I think he's going to be a very, very good player, this young fella. Strong, can mark overhead, good at ground level.
And he can kick steady in goals when needed. Bit against the trend, that one, wasn't it, really?
First game of Jace Bode with the job on Higgins, who kicks a first quarter goal. 250th game of Jeff White, having some time on the bench as Jamar does the ruck work. Darcy's come back. Cross, stripped of it. Was able to gain a few metres. Now there'll be a ball up. No, there won't. Umpires letting it go this year. Bell in the way. Ackermanis fought on well. They're head to head. Wheatley there. Higgins with him. Good stuff by the Bulldog forwards. Keeping it in. And now it's 50-50 at the throw-in.
Cooney's kick earlier in the game, which cost his team a goal, and there's the bombs away from the centre square, and they're costly.
But a couple of answering goals have the Dogs back on top. Eagleton putting through the third goal for the Bulldogs.
Good ruck work by Luke Darcy. Terrific ruck work. Hits it over the back into space. Got 2 players coming through. There's the tap. Cooney gift to Eagleton on his preferred side. He's the kicker.
Still no word on Chris Grant's leg injury. He's still in the rooms with the doctors. Actually, as I say it, he's limping out, and I can't see what the matter is. It looks like it's maybe a knee. We'll keep an eye on it, but he's just come out of the rooms now with the doctors.
Just played the 3 games this year, Chris Grant. Certainly hasn't helped the Bulldogs cause they're smashing them out of the middle in terms of hit-outs. Melbourne were until the last bit, but clearance-wise it's been pretty even. Dogs getting ahead in clearances. Now lead 9-5. Melbourne early on, the ruckman were getting their hands on the ball. Margin is just 1.
There's McDougall's been moved to centre half back. Chris Grant off, so McDougall, who started up forward, has now gone into the back line. Been playing in the back line in recent weeks in lower grades.
See, they were important in the last quarter last week, weren't they? Those two, Boyd and West. And Cross was better in the second half after looking particularly underdone for the first half. Hargrave going short. A little bit extra for Ray to think about after he took the mark from Brad Green. The Demons really trying to make some sort of physical statement tonight, which I think we all agree they had to do.
Yeah, that's good, Hutto. I reckon they needed to do that, and they've done that. Even before the first ball was bounced, 3 or 4 of them got into Acker.
Eagleton, bit of leverage for his left boot to work in. Cooney waiting behind. Sneaks to the back. Ooh. And there's that physical work again, but Acker first had to go at it. Carroll put his head down when he looked up. There was Bulldogs everywhere. Powers kick run down. Jeff White in his 250th. Wouldn't call it a disposal. Nor that. And Acker was quick to get there, but not as quick as Travis Johnston.
This came very cleanly off a boot, but for Bulldog fans it was the wrong boot. There's Jeff White imposing his body on Cooney, not really renowned for that. Here's McMahon up from defence for the Bulldogs, having a long blaze, but not getting a result.
Seems to be the clear message, doesn't it, to the...
There's Andreas Everett, spare man in defence. Rodney Eade's gone for the extra man behind the ball. And that's a real credit to a first-year player that he's given that role. Means he can read the play particularly well.
Wheatley's hand pass deflected, but he got it straight back. And he finds Bell. Keen contest early. Bulldogs by 2 points. Is that in the back? Yes, it is. Had to be. So McDougall.
Yeah, Cooney's got a dead arm, I reckon, after that hit on Jeff White. They've got him pretty much down at full forward, but he's not all that flash at the moment.
Robertson lunging forward in front of Morris and wastes no time. In the Neats direction. Harris and Everett both there. Jones just couldn't get rid of the tackle and tried for too long, in umpire McBurney's opinion. So it's a Bulldog free kick.
Looks like he had 2 360-degree turns.
Pretty undisciplined by Sylvia, really, wasn't it?
Well, it's just not smart play. Why do you do that? Whistle's gone, free kick given.
Well, that's not a good sign for the Bulldogs. Chris Grant's night is threatened very early. Darcy was the only hope for the Dogs in the air. On the ground, Tiller, who's kicked one already, just couldn't get himself set up for a second. Oh, Ray, that was ambitious. Bell now for Green, and the Demons on the rebound look good. A real chance. Newton, McDougall mows him down. Well done by the former Eagle. He doesn't get a stat. Well, he does for a tackle, but he doesn't get a disposal. Eagleton had to go the spoil. Ferguson, good pressure from Eagleton, and that wins a free kick. Signs good for the Dogs here, it'll come back.
Eagleton's effort, Tim, absolutely first rate. One, he gets a spoil from behind because he's the smaller player, so he spoils from behind. He follows up and puts the tackle on Ferguson. Once he's grabbed him by the arm, he's in big trouble, the Melbourne defender.
Such a great skill now, isn't it? The tackling by the arm, preventing the hand pass, and if the bloke with the ball is being slung, it's very difficult for him to get it onto his boot. Eagleton, a good kick of the ball. Within range for him. He's missed. The Dogs lead by 3 points.
I reckon Rodney Eade would throw the challenge to his team that without Brad Johnson playing, Chris Grant off the field, probably for the game, it's time half a dozen of his senior players really stepped up.
It's a free kick to you, Colin Sylvia. It was downfield. Downfield free.
So you heard the explanation, Sylvia. G. Brown kept on running after that initial burst out of defence. Now, Davies down deep at the feet of Holland, and also Neats, of course, who's made his lead into the pocket. So it's going to be more Holland than Neats here in the mix. Newton also there. They contest. Nathan Jones has been in the thick of the action so far, and that's his best effort so far. They're back in front. Probably been one of the highest points of Melbourne's year. Nathan Jones' season, was it?
He's been good, Hutto. He's hard and he's tough. Look, he looks older than he is. He's only around about the 20 years
19.
of age. 19.
Oh, you're saying because he's got no hair, he looks...
Yeah, but...
Well, as you can see there, it is a right knee injury for Chris Grant. And if you have a look at this, it looks like we may have found the reason for it as he knocks knees just there with Holland. They don't seem too concerned about it, but it does certainly look like his night is over for tonight.
Darcy, clean tap for the Bulldogs, and Morris did very well to set Ray free, and he goes for Ackermanis. Acker loves wheeling onto that left side, and that's a good kick. Nathan Brown it was who made the spoil third in line. Frawley under the pump. Green likewise. Did well. Carroll can't dally. Brown. And still the Demons not right out of here. McDonald back to Brown. And he just had to bang away with the left. Wheatley not taking it cleanly. Only had one chance. Cross to Boyd. Ray back to Daniel Cross. No, didn't like what he saw up ahead. Eagleton always dangerous with his left foot. So he doesn't use it.
They're doing this because the Demons have got an extra 2 in the defensive 50, so they need to run it up, not kick it up.
Being very patient. And it was almost inevitable that it was never going to go the journey, and Jones bangs away again for the Demons, but it's going to come back whence it came pretty quickly, you'd think.
You talked about it. Well, it was almost inevitable, Tim, only almost inevitable that it would come back. That was a magnificent kick from Nathan Jones.
Kick for touch. Cooney on the bench. He's had a pretty mixed first quarter and got absolutely crunched by Jeff White. He was courageous. He kept his eye on the ball, took the hit that was coming.
He's had 9 possessions, Wolsey.
He's sore at the moment.
Here's Byron Pickett, back for his 200th last week, of course. And still finding his touch. Jeff White does find his touch on the bounce. Dunn lets fly to full forward again. It's Holland. How's he going to go against the young man in Williams? Well, the young man does well, and so does this young man, Everett. Although he ran out of room. I think he tried to play on too quickly that time. It's going to come back.
Now, Holland's got the strength advantage over Williams. So Williams just can't afford to get caught too close to him. He's got to keep off him, step in, jump in when the ball comes so he can use his spring and get a fist on the footy.
McMahon long to Cross. Demon fans want it deliberate. They won't get it for that. So a throw in. Eagleton having a big impact for the Bulldogs, and he's lurking here at the throw in, waiting at the back. White though roves his own knock and releases Jones, who can have another go, having kicked one. Davey and McMahon tangle again. Same result as last time.
You've got his arms. That's it, you're in. You've got his arms. How can he get his arms up to contest the ball?
Will Davey give it off again?
Gee, it's a very tight... he's got the wrong angle, the umpire, here, by a long way.
Davey threads it through, and the Demons are 10 points in front.
He got the goal anyway. It didn't matter if the angle was wrong, but let's see. Gee, I reckon he's been stiff twice now, McMahon.
Pretty tough call. You know, both of them are grappling with each other. And with a goal at stake, you've got to be absolutely definite about that.
Rodney Ebert had every reason to be a little upset at the moment, not just as his team trailing by 10, but Chris Grant is off. Adam Cooney shaken up. A couple of interesting umpiring decisions has gone against them deep in defence.
And Brad Johnson not playing.
Finals on the line too for the Dogs, their chances that is. Can't afford to lose tonight. Byron Pickett just starting to get the feel for a bit of body on body. And the Demons will love that. They've just got the little touch at the moment, but the Dogs through McMahon on the way out. This is Boyd hitting the ground. You could just see a little bit of hesitation there though. And he has to go short. Power wants to give it back to Boyd. Tried to adjust the kick. More Demons there than Dogs. And Nathan Carroll took care of Barry Hall pretty well last week.
I just think the Doggies have to, once they get that break off half-back, they've got to keep going with the momentum. Once they stop and zigzag and go backwards, it just gives Melbourne a chance to get extra numbers back in their defensive 50.
This man's coming in for his 7th touch, Jones. It's a little wayward, as you saw. Ben Holland trying to bring Newton back into it. Dogs with the extra bodies that time. Cross, his 10th possession coming up. Williams on the overlap. Murphy facing the wrong way, but he changes that very quickly and can send them forward through Gian Siracusa. Davey was ready to pounce, and he still is. You've got to be extra careful around him. McDougall through the traffic. It's finally opened up for Gian Siracusa, and again, Higgins gets to the right place at the right time.
Robert Murphy just fantastic in that passage of play, and I think Murphy's the one who really has to lift this team. He's been in ordinary form, was terrific last week when he was played in the back line. He's playing in the forward line but pushed deep and was able to link up on a couple of occasions there to set up this shot for goal.
So Higgins kicked 2 goals earlier in the year when they played against the Demons in that close win in round 7. And he might already have 2 on the board at quarter time. He has. Back to Fuller.
Andrew McDougall playing his first game for the Dogs and imposing himself a couple of times in this opening quarter, having been thrown back after being expected to be an important forward tonight.
And there's a shot of Scotty West, who's been spending a fair bit of time up in the forward pocket area, not coming off the ground, getting his breather up there deep in the forward line.
Russell Robertson's come at him hard at a couple of centre bounces, but he's not bothering this time with West not involved. McDougall to John Siracusa. The fumble was costly. Higgins having a good quarter. Jones an even better one. Takes it away for the D's. Johnston, purposeful kick to Neitz. No. It was a long while before the NO. Harrison, McDougall both there needing to hold it. Oh, that's a high tackle, surely. Yes, it is.
Been impressive since he's gone to centre-half back. McDougall featured in a couple of handballs that set up attacking moves, and hard and aggressive at it there.
Neitz is struggling in terms of having an impact on the game, though, isn't he? He's only had 1 possession. That was quite early in the quarter.
Boyd now for the Dogs, being careful about bringing it out. And that's why it's been a spirited, evenly contested opening term. Plenty of goals. Demons by 4 points.
Well, they were terrific, Tim. I think most of us thought that Melbourne would come out and have a real dip in this game because they've been playing pretty ordinarily, and a lot of people have been talking about them, saying that they're perhaps just playing the season out. Their pride was at stake. Footballers have got a lot of pride, and we showed with that aggression early that they mean business. And the Bulldogs, they'll be a little bit stressed at the moment as they go into this quarter-time break.
Proud city facing hard times. A proud club with its fair share of knocks this season. This week, the Steel City stands as one to rally against the Raiders. A gang of young bloods with absolutely nothing to lose.
We've got a good one here on Monday night once again.
Let's see how easy it is being green in Newcastle.
Here come the Raiders. The Knights are back. It's game on.
The Knights versus the Raiders. Monday Night Football. Live and exclusive. Fox Sports 3.
August on the How To channel welcomes the series return of Homes on Homes. And the break has obviously done the big fella a world of good.
This is a total trouble.
In his endless quest for perfection, Mike picks up the pieces for families who have fallen victim to bodgy builders.
What does it have to take before someone says, you got to go to jail?
Step inside Luke's workshop.
I'll show you a range of great projects that you can build at home.
With each episode dedicated to a single task, you'll get a complete and comprehensive understanding of the job at hand.
From tools and materials right the way through to the finishing touches.
Witness the real elements of the interior design process in Design Inc. Sarah Richardson and her design team customise solutions for their clients, resulting in uniquely stylish spaces that will inspire. It's all in August on the How To channel.
Go! Next weekend, Fox Sports, tennis, Cincinnati, the stage for the ultimate warm-up before the Grand Slam Showdown. All the finals live. MotoGP, Invincible at Laguna Seca.
Casey Stoner is the man.
The Red Ducati continues its assault in the Czech Republic, Sunday, live. From the footy codes, AFL Saturday, not to be missed. Bombers Blues and Swans Lions live. Plus NRL, the crush to make or break for the 8th, live.
Yes, baby, yes!
Next weekend, Fox Sports.
Rewind your weekend and re-cue for the ultimate footy review. Monday nights on Fox Sports. From 7:30, go ground to ground across the round with Clinton Gribus as he hosts the comprehensive AFL highlight show, The Winners. Then live at 8:30, settle onto the couch with Jared, Mike and Wolsey as they kickstart the footy week with uncompromising analysis of the latest news, results and opinions. AFL Monday from 7:30, Fox Sports 1.
When I step on the field as a Wallaby, I guess I take with me all the people that have helped me get to where I am. First and foremost would be John Waugh, who did a lot of coaching with me at schoolboy level at Kings. Second would be Gordon Ogilvie, who coached me at Gordon Colts and really had a massive impact on me as a player and turning around from just messing around, having fun, to actually playing some good quality football, and still to this day I speak to him regularly, and he's sort of a rugby mentor to me. Importantly would be my support network, and that would be my family, my parents, my 3 brothers and my sister. Just as important would be my wife, Caroline, who's pretty much been with me since I started playing professional rugby. Nowadays I've got 3 kids, Harrison, Hunter and Sophie, and I'd like to think a little piece of each of them takes the field when I put that Wallaby jersey on as well.
The Rugby World Cup, September on Fox Sports.
And when I step onto the field, I take you.
AFL, it's down to the business end of the season, and Fox Sports has got you covered with 4 live games every week this August on Fox Sports.
The underdogs, the Western Bulldogs, the Demons against the Western Bulldogs have gone out tonight playing with intent and trying to put some physical presence on the Dogs, and they've done that well in the opening term. 5-2-32 to 4-4-28. Holland with 2 goals and Higgins for the Dogs. And Robert Walls, you want to bring up a stat that you've noticed a big difference in?
Well, Hutto, have a look at the Western Bulldogs. They've had 46 kicks and 65 handballs. That's out of whack. Far too much handball. You've got to give a lot of credit to the Demons because they put pressure on the Doggies and they've been forced to go backwards and sideways with some handballs that they wouldn't have necessarily liked.
Other story of the night is the injury situation. Christy.
Thank you, Anthony. Well, Chris Grant has just made his way to the Bulldogs bench. The doctors were having a look at his right knee again during that break. He has it strapped up now, but he's got the tracksuit top on, and just the way he's looking, I wouldn't hold out much hope for him returning to the field. Neither Michael Newton for Melbourne, who came off, already had his right knee strapped up, but now he's icing it as well. Also looks pretty upset. So both teams going to the second quarter, a player down.
Thank you, Christy. Let's check in the match at the Telstra Stadium in Sydney, and you can see the Swans have got a narrow lead. Crucial game there. We'll keep you up to date. The Swans by 4. This is an absolutely vital game for the Western Bulldogs. How would they be feeling right now, Rob?
They know it's game on because Melbourne have been the more aggressive team in that first quarter, and Rodney Eade, I'm sure he's let them know how much is at stake.
Look at him jump in.
Darcy went early and then
back to him, Jack White.
blocked White's passage, so it's Melbourne's ball to start the second term. Robertson again up at the centre contest, putting Melbourne forward. Ferguson was up there to try and win it in the air. It's against Pickett for the manner of his tackle on Everett. Hargrave allowed to run on and give to West. Now let's see if the Bulldogs just start being a little bit more direct and purposeful in their usage. Robertson to White. Too far out to go for home. Gives to Holland, who is within range.
It's the second time, Tim, that a squared up ball. We saw Cooney in the first quarter. Scotty West do it there. They are very, very risky kicks when you kick the ball 50 metres into the central corridor, because it gives the opposition a chance to get there to put a spoil on it, as we've seen a couple of times already in this game.
Ben Holland with a couple of goals has been handy. Doesn't get one here. Oh, Ferguson had it in his hands, which is what Neitz has got at the moment. Harris brings him down. There'll be a ball up.
Neitz has struggled the last few weeks. Sorry, Wolsey.
Here's that kick, Hutto. That's the Scott West kick. It's a bit of a floater, but it's just too risky. That's got to be a certainty when you go that switch play to the central corridor. And we've seen Cooney and West muck it up on a couple of occasions.
Dogs desperate to get it over the line. I was just going to say about David Neitz. They've thrown a few extra big bodies forward, haven't they? With Holland going deep and Ferguson now playing forward as well alongside Robertson. So I think they know that Neitz is below his best. Of course, he's going to play his 300th next week, which will be a massive celebration, won't it, for the Melbourne Footy Club.
First Demon to play 300 games.
There's a good sign, perhaps, for Michael Newton. Trying to get back now. McDonald, not a noted goal kicker. Jeff White, bit of a stand-off. Byron Pickett will put it through. And they lead by 10 again.
Well, just have a look at the momentum of McDonald coming through there. Real intent, eyes on the ball, unselfish share. And that momentum of McDonald, he was going faster than any other player when that ball was tapped down. That's the reason he got it. And just look at James McDonald burst through that pack there. He had the momentum and speed up and the intent. That's the reason why he got the footy. Doggies couldn't catch him. That set the goal up.
Signs are there that this is going to be a tough night for the Bulldogs. Melbourne going about it pretty impressively, and they look to have the manpower to really worry the Dogs. Jones has been very good. Ferguson, Pickett, and Green still lurking, can line them up and should finish. He doesn't. Sometimes you can have too long to think about it. They lead by 11 points.
Ferguson, as well as Byron Pickett, has been a good presence for them down there, Wolsey, in the last 5 minutes.
Well, they've got a bit of size there, haven't they? Byron's obviously strong. You've got David Neitz, you've got Ferguson and Dutchie Holland.
So Scotty West, 10th possession, finds power. Back to McMahon. And no real movement, no run from behind for the Dogs, so it had to be a place kick out in front of power. Now Murphy, gradual build-up, suddenly accelerating. Extra demon back is Jeff White. And they sorted out pretty nicely. No 50.
Very, very short Bulldog forward line.
Look at Rocket. We could almost just incidentally show the game and keep the camera on Rocket, and I think we'd be almost as entertained.
I reckon he knows he's got a tough night in front of him. They really must win tonight. It's one they should win, and yet circumstances conspiring against them a bit.
James McDonald linking up with Nathan Jones. Again, it opens up. Going to have to work very hard to find David Neitz. There's an extra Melbourne guy. It's Holland back in the goal score on his own, but the Bulldogs' confidence that the extra numbers would send the ball their way, and that's the way it is. McMahon finding Williams.
Just a little dab.
That's just a dreadful kick by Williams. Just a dreadful kick. It just kills you.
And Johnston is away for the Demons, and they have Holland loose. Now, he's not the best man to be trying to collect a loose ball and do something creative, but he had Neitz there for him. His first disposal for more than 20 minutes becomes a rush behind. But the Demons look capable of really opening up a lead here. The margin is 12 points. Williams being very careful with the kick, too much so.
This is a team lacking confidence, the Dogs. Their skills are very ordinary. They're hesitant. They're going backwards and sideways more than forwards. There's a chance now.
Yeah, Cooney should be able to kick a goal from here, and they need it. They don't get it. Really should have been kicked.
12 months ago, the Bulldogs were looking really exciting. They won a final. It was the first time they'd won a final in 8 years. Currently, they're not a patch on what they were 12 months ago.
We saw young Bode involved in that passage of play, but this is Jamar up to half forward. Green in amongst 3 white Bulldogs jumpers, and the ball over and out. After Cooney missed, let's go back to Rocket Cam.
Early in the second quarter.
Cooney's lurking again here to try and make amends, linking up this time with Eagleton, averaging 20 possessions a game for the first time in his 11-year career. This is Murphy, plenty of experience. Young Frawley only in his first season. Into the pocket. Good ball for Tiller on the bounce. Murphy, even he is well astray at the moment. It's like they just need to click into gear, and they just can't at the moment.
Well, you go back 12 months ago, Rowan Smith was in that team. Gilby was starring in the back pocket. Hahn was hard and tough. Minson and Skipper were handy in the ruck. Well, they're not here tonight. Brad Johnson not playing tonight. Chris Grant was doing his bit last year. Yeah, they are.
Higgins gone for holding it. Demons allowed to run on. Davey to Robertson. Nothing happening for the Bulldogs. Pickett having some impact tonight, the old fella. And he places this well for Neitz, who had Harris well beaten. And Harris has got to come back a metre or two.
Well, we know he can. Distance shouldn't worry David Neitz.
I just get the feeling that he's not as fit as he's not as confident in his kicking as he was, Walsey.
Let's see. They lead by 11. Yes, it just lacked a little bit of confidence. They lead by 12. Well called, Hutto.
I thought he was certainly kicking a goal after I said that, but just in the old days, he would have gone back and had a shot from there, wouldn't he? And then he was...
He wouldn't have thought twice.
No.
He would have just said, I'll put this over the fence. As you get a bit older, Hutto, you lose penetration with your kicking. Did that happen to you?
Yeah, it did. Even the jam team became hard after that, Walsey. But we've kept the lid on it. There's the short kick across ground. Cooney, oh, even that was not out of the reach. McDougall had to adapt. He did all right initially, but set a task for Higgins. You know he's up to it. Malone, he loves the crash of bodies, but West is also in the right place, and that was a better kick into the space, and Murphy was able to make it his own.
Well, if the Doggies are to get up and win this game, I reckon Robert Murphy will have to lead them to the line. He looks like he's set for a really good game. He started well, moving freely. In the rooms, Hutto, when we were down there, he was the one Bulldog player that I thought had, you could see it written over his face, that this was a big night for his team and himself.
16 goals, 10 for the season. Had a couple of big nights where he's kicked multiple goals, but so far tonight, not accurate like the rest of his teammates. And the margin is 11, but they might get another crack now, and again it's Murphy involved.
And he wants 50, yes.
He's got the 50. J-Mar held on to him after the mark.
Not involved in the contest.
And Mark Riley, the Melbourne coach, have a look at this. It's a bad kick. That makes it worse.
Not in the contest, Mark. You put your
Old habits die hard.
So, as I said, 16-10 for the season. Been offline tonight, but should be able to send this one through. And they're well in touch.
Mark J-Mar suitably chastened. Giving up a goal there. Bad kick in. And that from J-Mar was even worse. I think players just do that instinctively at times. Once upon a time it was permissible. Long night for Chris Grant as well as for his coach. Out of the game in the first few minutes with an injury to his right knee. We hope it's not serious. The Bulldogs stay close. An important goal. J-Mar gets a good tap after giving up that goal. Dunn puts the Demons forward. Newton's back and takes it wide. Nathan Brown keeping it alive. Still alive. Neitz. Everett, she's an accomplished young player.
He's going to be a beauty, Tim.
You'd think he played 50, not 5 games. Travis Johnston, Powers got him covered, but that's good. And J-Mar now has the chance to pull that goal back. No, he gives it away to a man whose boot he trusts a bit more than his own, Brad Green, and that's why.
kick, no, against him.
There's a bit of niggle in this game.
Just stand him, don't swing the arm into him. No, yeah, I am. You do it, I'll pay it, I've told you.
Steve McBurney laying down the law. Melbourne have won the centre clearances 3-0 in this quarter. 6-1 in total for the term. Dunn getting a roll in the midfield unusually. Holland almost couldn't hang on. Ferguson might kick a goal. Then again, he might not. It was touched. He was celebrating. Couldn't get the message across to his teammates that it wasn't a goal. But Holland is providing a real threat for them down there. Everett with the fingertips.
Ray for the Dogs. They're 2 goals down. Everett just checking the kick, but over-checked it. Johnston able to absorb the pressure and give to Maloney. That's a bit sloppy. Dunn. Brown giving it back to Lyndon Dunn. Can he go all the way? The goal unguarded. It's a good kick. A very good kick. The Demons by 3 goals.
They might have found themselves a midfielder here, Wolsey.
Yeah, and Dunn just a good answer there by the Demons, and you can see their punt. They are well and truly up.
Watching you, Lyndon. I'm watching you from here. Think about it, Lyndon.
Have a look at that. That is a bit of the story of the night so far. This quarter 4-zip out of the middle for the Demons after the Dogs are on top early. Lyndon Dunn, there is number 14, kicked the last goal. Watching Boyd closely. And he's been. We thought he was going to be the next David Swartz lookalike coming through for the D's a couple of years ago, and struggled as a key position, but he's into the middle.
I don't think he's big enough really to be a key position player, Hutto.
Clearances at quarter time with the Bulldogs' way 13-7. It's now 14-all, so it's been 7-1 this quarter. The Bulldogs will win this one. Boyd held by Dunn off the ball. Matthew Boyd, one of those very good midfield defenders who now is being defended himself. Hargrave here delivers, and Higgins, who kicked 2 in the opening quarter, can line up for a 3rd goal. And Dunn not giving Boyd time to spit. Now, Sean Higgins, this is an important kick for the Bulldogs. 3 goals down. 2 lovely goals in the first term. Professor Higgins. Missed that one. Still Melbourne by 17 points.
So Mark Riley, the coach of the Demons, having a good night so far with some of the moves he's made. Didn't quite hit that ball too well there, Wheatley, and you can see the result. Cross just came in beautifully. Sets it up for the top of the square. Arriving late was Morris down there. Higgins didn't get the free, thought he might have. Bell's able to take it away to a one-on-one. Newton leading McDougall to the footy. He's shown that if he can do anything, it's take a mark. Michael Newton towards half forward. Again, Sylvia playing in front of McMahon, and I reckon McMahon will be happy with that result.
Melbourne's got 3 big fellas in their forward 50. David Neitz, Holland and Ferguson.
It is a Melbourne home game, not a big crowd. There's Ferguson with Everett minding him.
Not a bad move to get Everett out of the action.
Eagleton was in full flight. That was until he was dragged down by young Bode. Kick forward from Pickett, interference, free kick. And Harris can complain all he likes.
David Neitz' kick. Yeah, thank you.
But it's Neitz' shot for goal coming up. Make your own mind up. Here's Neitz. Oh, bad misfire.
Might have been some justice in that. I made my mind up from the replay.
Told you his confidence is now with his kicking.
Yes, he's very wobbly now. So the margin 18 points, but the Dogs are feeling the stress of it all. Boyd giving to Cross. Goes for Ray. Jones bearing down, and the curl of the ball favoured him. Good contest this. A real one-on-one, and Ray wins it. Cross arrives. John Siracusa needs to provide an option up forward. Carroll against Tiller. Tiller stuck over it. Dangerous place to be. There'll be a throw-in. 3 goals in it. Bulldogs having plenty of the ball. They have all the biggest possession earners.
Yeah, plenty of the ball, Tim, but they're going sideways and backwards too much.
You turn your back on the footy and you've grabbed him. Has to be a free. Stay clear of the mark here, boys.
They've had more kicks in this quarter. Their breakdown 75 kicks, 76 hand passes. Ratio was quite different at quarter time. Now Robertson for the Demons. Goes for Sylvia, and he'll get a free kick. Poor old Jordan McMahon. He's given away at least 3, and he has not agreed with one of them.
Sylvia moves it. Again down to Newton. They just look much better up forward. Here's another look at that free kick. With so many more options. It allows Russell Robertson some freedom too, doesn't it, when Neitz is back there and Dutchie Holland and Robbo getting up the ground.
I like the move of Ferguson to the goal square to take Everett off that half-back line. He was very good for the Bulldogs in the first and early part of this second quarter.
So the margin is still 18.
Strapping in hard, the Demons. If they can get another, there's Everett there, taken to the last line of defence. If they can get another couple of goals, Melbourne, before half-time, it's going to be very hard for the Bulldogs to claw their way back into this game.
5-man forward line for the Demons. If it goes that way, it doesn't. Ackermanis instead. Carroll there, riding along with Tiller. And I reckon he wouldn't mind playing on young Tiller.
There's young Higgins, and he's back near the goals. He's virtually the full forward, playing the Brad Johnson role. And that's a good move by Rodney Eade, because he's been beating his opponents. It just haven't been able to get it there quickly enough to him.
Just to finish that sentence, I wasn't having a go at young Tiller, but Carroll was on Barry Hall last week, so it's a bit of difference from one week to the next. And there's Rodney Eade. I wonder what he can come up with, either before half-time or more likely after the break. Cooney. They'd certainly love to snag a couple before half-time. There's Tiller and Carroll. He's got him constrained again.
The Demon defenders won't know themselves tonight, will they? They normally find themselves pitted against these great big ugly forwards, and tonight they're the great big ugly ones. And the Bulldogs with not a lot of physical firepower to throw at them.
I don't know if Chopper Carroll would agree with you, Tim.
Skipper, natural left footer, got leverage on the kick, but Murphy and Higgins just not quite able to get on the end of it. Murphy with 1 goal in this quarter. Higgins kicked 2 in the previous one. Daniel Cross having a breather, and West comes back. Always a good sight for Bulldog fans. Now they need to snare a goal. Darcy bringing it to the back, but it eluded Higgins, and White does the roving and bombs it beyond the centre from out of the back pocket. Sylvia, it's against McMahon again.
Didn't even bother arguing that time.
He'll start tearing that hair out shortly.
Had twice the number of free kicks, the Demons, but then they've been in front.
West just back. Harris running off Neitz. Ackermanis. Only half a dozen disposals so far, and that's not one he'll be particularly proud of. Wheatley drives Melbourne forward, and Robertson dangerous in the air and low to the ground. Too far out. He's got a lead, and Newton is on the end of that. And Sir Isaac can line them up. An esteemed company tonight, with Professor Higgins at one end of the ground and Sir Isaac Newton at the other.
Been a busy week, Tim.
Let's see if he can get the right laws of motion into effect here. Not quite. Oh, Davey! In uncharacteristic, rarefied atmosphere. Green, he had the right idea as he didn't go for goal. He put it out in front of the sticks, but Ackermanis was lurking. Hargrave, Ray, all danger here for McDougall with Pickett coming the other way. It's not what you want to see. Ball up. Still the Demons by 18 points. Aaron Davey. Luke Darcy's back. A nice target. Still in the Demons' front half. White with Darcy. A couple of old men of the air. Here's Carroll. Good stuff. Robertson placing it for Davey, but not really the right spot for him. So a throw in, and it's a sight for sore eyes for Demon fans. Having a tough year, but tonight they're in front by 3 goals and looking a real chance.
Jason Ackermanis has been moved onto the ball, spent most of this game playing as a half-forward flanker.
Jamar, Darcy gave it to West, who was aware of the danger around him. Acker starting to have an influence in the last few minutes. Cooney for his 14th touch. Harris coming up from defence, trying to get away from Neitz. Provide some run and dash and drive. Here's Murphy. Carroll to negotiate. Extra man back is Wheatley. He's waiting down. Higgins. Brown. Tried to escape the clutches of power. It was like he did have a mirror there just to see what was at the back. Wheatley's kick just had to be a little bit better than that. The Dogs are lining up as Morris dishes for West, and now Power wanted to move it.
Good play, Morris Hutto. Really attacked the football, left his opponent, came out hard at it. The ball didn't get past him.
Let's see if West can hit a target.
Yeah, next kick's the important one. He's just got to spot someone up inside the 50.
Murphy's down there, so is Higgins in the square, motioning. But it's the lead from Cooney, and I reckon the Demons will be disappointed that that target was able to be hit.
Well, patience shown by Scotty West. He just waited and waited. He knew what he wanted to do, just to get someone to take that mark inside the forward 50, get them within goal kicking distance. This is a great shot of it. And Cooney able to, it was only about a 20-metre kick, but Cooney just needs to finish up. Boy, it's an important kick. 3 goals down, the Doggies.
25-17 this season. The most of any Bulldog out there tonight, including 2 bags of 4 and a bag of 3, so he can be a multiple goal kicker. Just the one behind so far tonight. A lot riding on this kick from Adam Cooney, but the trend continues in front. The Bulldogs astray, and the margin is 17, and we are set for an intriguing second half.
Robertson to Nathan Brown. That front on shot of Cooney holding the ball. He looked to be holding it straight, did he?
His right hand should have been lower on the ball. He held it incorrectly. It's amazing, Tim. You have blokes who play league football. He's had quite a few seasons at it. He needs to have the ball. See where his left hand is towards the bottom of the ball. His right hand should be there for a right foot kick. So his grip's askew.
He's got it above his left boot. He's been watching Brendan Favola, but he hasn't quite mastered the Fev's technique, I don't think. Brown giving it to Jones. And Sylvia. McDonald hasn't had a lot of it tonight. Goes for Neitz. Coming a long way from goal.
Luke Darcy pushed back to help out back there.
And Frawley coming up from defence.
On the 50, thank you, right there.
And Luke Darcy in front of the big Melbourne forwards. Jamar running into the forward 50 at the back there. You can see the big fella, that's Darcy's opponent.
Angry Bulldogs snapping at Frawley there. Davey into the open goal. And this lead is getting dangerous. It's out to 23.
Well set up, Wolsey, wasn't it?
It was.
Newton just came over the top.
And you can see that Cooney just didn't put enough body pressure on Aaron Davey. He could see Davey coming through, but he just wasn't prepared to be defensive enough. And, cost his team a goal.
Melbourne have won the clearances 12-6 for the quarter. They've got away to a 23-point lead. Aaron Davey's second goal. He kicked 3 against the Dogs in round 7 when they got home by a goal. And that's going to be a hard road for them now. Rodney Eade, a lot to think about during the main break. Jamar throwing his weight around. Cooney. Hargrave. Plenty of space at half forward. It just set up beautifully for Wheatley. And the Demons getting some system working tonight, which would be very pleasing for their supporters. McDonald and Green just engineered the kick, hoping for Neitz or Newton or Holland. They're all in the mix. Good defence. And they're away now, the Dogs, through Boyd. Low ball into the pocket, and he's the most dangerous forward at the moment, isn't he, Higgins?
Absolutely. They've tried to isolate him. Luke Darcy's screaming at it for back in the goal square, but Higgins is entitled to have a shot. He had a shot from there about 10 minutes back, and he just put it to the right of the right-hand goalpost.
2 goals, 1. 4 marks. We won't try and build up the kick again. We've done it a number of times and they've completely missed.
Well, he's consistent.
Yeah, doesn't matter what we say.
That was a difficult decision for him, wasn't it? Because I reckon with Darcy at his best, he only had Bode against him. There was a mismatch there. And if he had complete confidence in Luke Darcy's skills at this stage of Luke's career, I reckon he would have sat the kick up for him. But he took responsibility for it himself and didn't get the result. So it's still Melbourne by 22, a bit over a minute left. Demons with the footy, and that's what you want this late in a quarter. Have time to try and manoeuvre it and set up another goal. Well done, Higgins, down in the back half, although didn't quite put it where he wanted. McDougall to Darcy under pressure. Everett likewise. Back to McDougall. This is Fidley. Ackermanis to Cross. Skipper. Well, he is a good left foot kick at the ball, but couldn't see anything he liked. Yeah, so he kicks to a contest.
He pulled up with the kick because there was no one in front of him.
Eagle turn, well tackled, got it onto his boot, which was clever. Now Bode for Melbourne, the first gamer. Johnston, so the Demons have got it back, and they have enough time. Brown with a target out there in Carroll. What does the defender do here? He just goes bang, and he gives Jamar the chance in the air. Well done by Morris. Davey brought down, and it's a free kick. Oh, that's costly. Tom Williams not happy. He knows he's dropped a clanger. And I reckon they'll all be a bit reluctant to go in and face the wrath of their coach at half-time. Davey didn't have it. He was tagged high. Just from fateful moment, the hand coming over the shoulder, but I think perhaps it was just for a hold when he wasn't in possession. He's kicked 2 on the stroke of half-time. Now, is it play on? I don't think it's a goal. Oh, yes, it is. I thought he might have called play on for a moment because Davey ran a little wide. The goal counts, and the Demons are 28-point leaders at halfway.
Well, who would have believed this? There were signs there last night.
The Oz kick kids enjoying themselves at half-time. I don't think the Western Bulldogs have. They're ready for action. Let's take a closer look, though, at some of the tactics involved in this game, with the Demons leading 67-39. It's time for the NAB Analyzer. And Robert Walls, you're picking on anyone tonight, or what have you got for us?
I'm going to show you the experience of Russell Robertson, the 200 gamer for the Melbourne Football Club. Got a passage of play here, and Russell Robertson, he hits the deck. He's on the ground there.
Yep.
And the ball continues on. Just keep your eye on Robertson. He starts to back out. He starts to back out. He's anticipating his team will win the football, and he's running into space. He continues on with that movement out into open space. It's a Demons ball. Russell Robertson continues to back off. There he is there. The ball isn't kicked to him, but he's in a lot of space. You'll see the ball goes out wide to Wheatley. Wheatley gets it on the wing, sees Robertson. Robertson marks in space, backs himself with a run and a bounce, unloads from 50 metres and kicks a fantastic goal for the Demons. That's experience for you, Hutto.
So that's the moral of the story, is it? It's good to be old and experienced.
And cheat a little bit.
All right, let's get back to the action. Tim. The Oz kick kids enjoying themselves at half-time. I don't think the Western Bulldogs have. They're ready for action. Let's take a closer look, though, at some of the tactics involved in this game, with the Demons leading 67-39. It's time for the NAB Analyzer. And Robert Walls, you picking on anyone tonight, or what have you got for us?
This week, it's all eyes on the foot of the mountain for Monday Night Football on Fox Sports.
Have a look at this.
The Panthers take on the pride of North Queensland live across Australia.
And it's yee-haw for the Cowboys.
Can the top end boys and the deadly bow and arrow hit the target to grab a top 4 finish? Or will the Spoons spur on the big cats to claw back in the saddle? Don't miss the wild Western Sydney showdown. Penrith take on the Cowboys live Monday night on Fox Sports.
August on the How To channel welcomes the series return of Homes on Homes. And the break has obviously done the big fella a world of good.
This is a total trouble.
In his endless quest for perfection, Mike picks up the pieces for families who have fallen victim to bodgy builders.
What does it have to take before someone says, you got to go to jail?
Step inside Luke's workshop.
I'll show you a range of great projects that you can build at home.
With each episode dedicated to a single task, you'll get a complete and comprehensive understanding of the job at hand.
From tools and materials right the way through to the finishing touches.
Witness the real elements of the interior design process in Design Inc. Sarah Richardson and her design team customise solutions for their clients, resulting in uniquely stylish spaces that will inspire. It's all in August on the How To channel.
Rewind your weekend and re-queue for the ultimate footy review, Monday nights on Fox Sports. From 7:30, go ground to ground across the round with Clinton Gribus as he hosts the comprehensive AFL highlight show, The Winners. Then live at 8:30, settle onto the couch with Jared, Mike and Wolsey as they kickstart the footy week with uncompromising analysis of the latest news, results and opinions. AFL Monday from 7:30, Fox Sports 1.
Go! Next weekend, Fox Sports, tennis, Cincinnati, the stage for the ultimate warm-up before the Grand Slam showdown. All the finals live. MotoGP, invincible at Laguna Seca.
Casey Stoner is the man.
The Red Ducati continues its assault in the Czech Republic, Sunday, live. From the footy codes, AFL Saturday, not to be missed. Bombers Blues and Swans Lions live. Plus NRL, the crush to make or break for the 8th, live.
Yes, baby, yes!
Next weekend, Fox Sports.
When I step on the field as a Wallaby, I guess I take with me all the people that have helped me get to where I am. First and foremost would be John Waugh, who did a lot of coaching of me at schoolboy level at Kings. Second would be Gordon Ogilvie, who coached me at Gordon Colts and really had a massive impact on me as a player and turning around from just messing around, having fun, to actually playing some good quality football, and still to this day I speak to him regularly, and he's sort of a rugby mentor to me. Importantly would be my support network, and that would be my family, my parents, my 3 brothers and my sister. Just as important would be my wife, Caroline, who's pretty much been with me since I started playing professional rugby. Nowadays I've got 3 kids, Harrison, Hunter and Sophie, and I'd like to think a little piece of each of them takes the field when I put that Wallaby jersey on as well.
The Rugby World Cup, September on Fox Sports.
And when I step onto the field, I take you.
Yeah, let's take her out, though. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. Out, mate.
Let's try to work out what the... Yes, thank you, Andrew. Steve, welcome.
Thank you, Tim.
I believe Ricky has indicated that Chris Bond is likely to coach Melbourne. Well, as CEO, you're part of the panel that will make that judgment. Is he on the money?
Well, no decision's been made. I mean, Ricky's got a couple of people in the stable, but running for a couple of clubs. So Chris Bond is in the mix, but so are a number of others.
He certainly is being talked up. Has he done an interview with you thus far?
Yeah, we've talked to about 10 or 15 at length. We've now got that back to about 9 to 10, who we'll be talking to at length again this week to make a short list for final presentations in about 2 weeks.
And you're hoping to make a decision sometime in September, early or late?
Probably, the sooner the better, but that depends a bit on the practicalities of who's available to talk given their preparation for finals and things. But we've always said we've got a very solid process which we're sticking to despite the wishes of the media and members and supporters and others to make a quick decision. But it's not a beauty contest, it's not a popularity contest. We'll make the right decision, hopefully in time that that new coach can have an effect on our trade and draft selections and summer preparations.
Will it be easy to sell an untried coach to your membership, bearing in mind that the man you've given up, Neil Danaher, had 10 years, 10 pretty good years, 6 times in the finals, much loved, went out with full ceremony as he finished here against Essendon a few weeks ago?
Look, I think Neil was here for 10 years and you say a pretty good track record given the environment, the resources he had to play with, probably a very, very good record. But so in a sense, after 10 years, it is a fresh start for the club, and I think almost any coach coming in now epitomises that fresh start. Now, whether it's an experienced coach, be it Kevin Sheedy or Chris Connolly or one of the assistants coming up, it's still a fresh start, and I think that's the key.
Are you choosing between someone who might be able to take a team into the finals and beyond quickly, or someone who has to build a team pretty much from the bottom up, which would be representative of where you are on the ladder at the moment?
Yeah, but I don't think the ladder's a representation of where we're at. I think tonight's a bit of an example. We could name a team for next year that's full of all but 3 players, maybe all under 28. I think the exaggerations about the age of our list has been exaggerated by the players playing, which in turn has been exaggerated by the number of injuries of young players. So we're looking for a coach that can give us the bounce back, which we think we can get. Just even normal injuries would give us that next year, but then take us forward over years 2, 3, 4 and 5. Whether the coach is appointed for that long is another matter, but we certainly see this as a 3 to 4 year build.
Got to leave it there, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Things looking good for the Demons tonight. 28 points up at half time. Andy, back to you.
Yardage to go before Melbourne does finalise its coach for 2008. She's an arm wrestler at Telstra Stadium. I think we all thought this was going to be the case. Bolton leading the way from down back for the Swans. Montagna, prolific. What a season he has had. We will be back at the Telstra Dome after the break. Melbourne by 28 points. Chris O will be back for the 5th quarter a little bit later on.
The Halftime Report. Proudly brought to you by NAB. Celebrate footy's better half as Women's Round continues live on Fox Sports AFL. Sunday at 1, the battle for a home final rages as the Roos look to bounce back against the Eagles, who lost more than a few feathers in the West.
Two of them have never taken a backward step.
Then it's last chance footy. The Dockers and the Dons try to keep their final streams alive and active. 4 o'clock from Subi. Sunday AFL, Kangaroos West Coast for 1, Fremantle Essendon at 4, all live on Fox Sports 1. This August on Fuel TV, the bases are covered, and we want you to...
Whoa, check out these ripping dudes.
Sir, the 2007 ASB World Tour is back in the water, with round 4 from Chile and round 5 from J-Bay, South Africa.
Hi, I'm Joel Parkinson. You're watching Fuel TV's 24/7, surfing all day, every day.
Skate, we hit the road with Mike V and Drive, notes from the wilderness, and go behind the scenes for the making of the Globe Skate movie, United by Fate. Fantastic. FMX, the new series of M80 has landed, bringing you more random stupidity and token hotties than ever. Snow, it's here, and so is Season 2 of Ride Guide, your essential pass to the best slopes from around the globe. Bike, and it's downhill mayhem aplenty in the Avalanche Trophy. Plus the props crew are back for 07, road tripping and rail slipping.
Props on Fuel TV.
August on Fuel TV, 24/7 action sports.
When I step on the field as a Wallaby, I guess I take with me all the people that have helped me get to where I am. First and foremost would be John Waugh, who did a lot of coaching with me at schoolboy level at Kings. Second would be Gordon Ogilvie, who coached me at Gordon Colts and really had a massive impact on me as a player and turning around from just messing around, having fun, to actually playing some good quality football, and still to this day I speak to him regularly, and he's sort of a rugby mentor to me. Importantly would be my support network, and that would be my family, my parents, my 3 brothers and my sister. Just as important would be my wife, Caroline, who's pretty much been with me since I started playing professional rugby. Nowadays I've got 3 kids, Harrison, Hunter and Sophie, and I'd like to think a little piece of each of them takes the field when I put that Wallaby jersey on as well.
The Rugby World Cup, September on Fox Sports.
And when I step onto the field, I take you.
Wake up every morning with Fox Sports News.
Oh my goodness!
Give us 15 minutes and we'll update you with all the overnight results and top stories of the day with the Morning Rush from 6.
AC Stoner with the US Grand Prix.
Or from 8, we serve up a daily intake of all the sports action, previews and hot topics with the morning news.
Best story in footy this year.
What a way to start your day. With Fox Sports News. It's on all the time. Know your English Premier League? Think you can manage the best of English football? Then join Fox Sports Fantasy EPL and create the ultimate Premier League squad. Buy your players and build your team. There's prizes throughout the season. Sign up now. You could win a share in $10,000 cash. Register now at foxsports.com.au. Create your own team and follow your players and the English Premier League with Fox Sports.
Pick that one out!
Hey, hey, and we'll all float on a cake. And we'll all float on a cake.
The Oz kids enjoying themselves at half-time. I don't think the Western Bulldogs have. They're ready for action. Let's take a closer look, though, at some of the tactics involved in this game, with the Demons leading 67-39. It's time for the NAB Analyzer. And Robert Walls, you're picking on anyone tonight, or what have you got for us?
I'm going to show you the experience of Russell Robertson, the 200 gamer for the Melbourne Football Club. Got a passage of play here, and Russell Robertson, he hits the deck. He's on the ground there.
Yep.
And the ball continues on. Just keep your eye on Robertson. He starts to back out. He starts to back out. He's anticipating his team will win the football, and he's running into space. He continues on with that movement out into open space. It's a Demons ball. Russell Robertson continues to back off. There he is there. The ball isn't kicked to him, but he's in a lot of space. You'll see the ball goes out wide to Wheatley. Wheatley gets it on the wing, sees Robertson. Robertson marks in space, backs himself with a run and a bounce, unloads from 50 metres and kicks a fantastic goal for the Demons. That's experience for you, Hutto.
So that's the moral of the story, is it? It's good to be old and experienced.
And cheat a little bit.
All right, let's get back to the action. Tim.
And Russell Robertson always adding some spice to the Melbourne lineup. Good to see him back. Here's his game plot for the evening, Wolsey, and he has been prominent.
He has been, Tim, and the significant thing about that is that you can see he's been getting his possessions all over the ground, so he's been able to run. Robertson, I think he was restricted with a knee injury for a good bit of this year, so he was limited in what he could do. But he's making a statement tonight. Even from the first bounce, he charged in off the line and tried to clean up Scotty West. So well done to Robbo.
Yeah, not so familiar a role, that one, that he took on a couple of times in the first quarter, just to let the Bulldogs know that they were in a real contest. They certainly know it now. They're 28 points down, entering the second half of a September shaping contest against Melbourne. White beats Darcy. If Melbourne get the first goal or two here, the Bulldogs are in very deep. Cooney kicking high and wide. And Bode beats Eagleton and did pretty well under pressure to hug the line. Kept alive by Maloney, but stolen by Cooney for Cross and Ray. West.
Gee, they've got to be more direct.
He didn't want to turn onto his right side. Ackermanis from behind was never going to get the leverage to mark that. Darcy missing him. And really the Bulldogs looking directionless and a little spiritless at the moment. Cooney. That's better. Higgins.
Thank goodness for him.
The angle that he sees from there is not good. Now it's coming back by the look of it. Ball's been whistled up.
Bulldogs starting with McDougall up in the goal square, up at full forward. He played that second quarter at centre half back.
Yeah, 2 metres.
Higgins 2-2 in the first half. This is the toughest shot he's had. Missed 2 kickable ones in the second quarter. Well, they need something like this, you suspect, to really spark them. Oh dear, touched by the man on the mark. He just miscued the kick. Wheatley confidently kept it in, maybe too much so. Murphy swings it around the corner and the Bulldogs get the first of the half.
And Wheatley, the Melbourne player, Jeff White, just a sloppy handball, intercepted and pays the penalty. Here it comes there.
Guys, you've been warned. Yep.
A nice kick at goal at last for the Western Bulldogs. The margin for Mark Riley and his Demons, 22 points. And White means business down to McDonald. Good space in front of Dunn. We saw him in the middle earlier. Now he's down in a forward roll. Tiller wrapped up and could be in some trouble here. He's in big trouble. Probably pretty hard for him to make an effort when his arms were completely locked up.
And you can see Chris Bond talking to Rodney Eade there. Tiller, who played most of the first half in the forward line, has been settled in the back half for this third quarter.
Well,
so this is a switch.
If this is a correct interpretation, surely the rule is wrong. What chance did he have? He played the ball, he took possession, he was wrapped up, he had no hope.
I agree, Tim.
They've had the last 7 free kicks. Not that that means anything.
You don't want to discourage players from attacking the ball.
So here is Lyndon Dunn. And while the Dogs have struggled, the Demons are hitting targets in front of goal.
Well, that's a heartbreaker for the Bulldogs, and really, why would a defender go at the ball? Why would he pick it up? He knew he was going to be tackled.
Yeah, he had a chance to handball it once he picked it up. Of course he hasn't.
The umpire gave him time. Guess what he was looking for was some motion of the arm to try and release the ball.
He was being rolled over and over on the ground. So Lyndon Dunn, 2 goals for the Demons, making a telling contribution. Given a defensive midfield role, he's become useful up forward. West, Eagleton and Cross. And the Bulldogs, well, they're being so careful in their setups. This works. Cooney to full forward, but Bell big enough to prevent Ackermanis from marking. And the Demons with numbers around the ball. Wheatley, Murphy arriving. He really has been the Bulldogs' best hope up there. Been the leader of their front half. Higgins contributing a couple of goals, but Murphy with a sense of presence that nobody else really has. Umpire giving this one quite a chance, and eventually it does come loose. Bell easily through the Ackermanis tackle, bit too easily. Nathan Jones, strong, aggressive, and getting better. Green, Bell running off Acker now and probing forward for the Demons. Just missed Neitz. Now Neat has got it. Well mown down by Harris, who wins a free kick. And Everett comes away with it.
And he had some options too, didn't he, coming out of defence. This is Tiller, who we're more accustomed to seeing in attack, but he's rebounded the ball a couple of times now. Farron Ray acted as if he was another 5 or 6 kilos heavier and stronger. And Newton gives him a bit to go on with, and the umpire doesn't pay 50. We're looking at the replay there. There's been a little bit more going on since. That was the initial one from Newton, and then Ray went back at him. Play restarts, and Neat's just starting to become a bit of a presence up forward. Davey breaking from the square. Green is the target here. Robbo's in the mix as well.
Smart kick by Neitz. He knows that Robertson is a much better than average mark. Keeps his eyes on the ball. Dangerous ball for the Dogs to defend. Have a look at that. Eyes on the ball. Hargrave, his opponent, not looking at the football, completely out of the contest. And that is just a perfect long kick setup. What the Doggies have to do, they've just got to be more direct and start to kick the ball more than they handball. They have had more handballs thus far than kicks.
For his second goal, Robbo's kicked 30 goals for the year. Now it's 32. Amazing what a bit of confidence will do, isn't it, in a team?
Scoreboard's a glum sight for Bulldog fans. It's out to 34 points. Yes, that's right, Rodney, 34 the scoreboard shows. And the Bulldogs used, I'd say, their one and only get-out-of-jail card last weekend against St Kilda. Hard to see them getting back into this. Bell to Travis Johnston. He could do it from there if he chose. He chooses Pickett instead.
Clever. 50 metres.
Well, it's a certain goal.
Becoming a rebel, the Bulldogs.
And the margin is about to become 40. Melbourne are killing them. The Bulldogs are out of the 8 and they're going to stay there by the look of this. It's Melbourne by 40 points.
And Bulldog supporters just shaking their heads.
Army, hey?
Well, the
they're in retreat.
Bulldog supporters can't believe it. They're supposed to be 40 points in front.
Darcy and Jamar. Darcy the tap, but Travis Johnston, who assisted in the last goal, sending them forward again. Tillers won a couple of good contests out of defence. Here's Ackermanis. Now the Army won't be too happy with that. Travis Johnston, we know about his silky skills. He's a delight when he's going. Just back in the team tonight. Maloney the fumble. Undoes the good work. Maloney just the 9 games this year. Again, injury riddled. Boyd, the unlikely ruckman. This is Jones. Uncertain where to go. So backwards is the first modus of operation. Now forward into the space, and they've been relishing that, the Demons, leading up. First Neitz, then Newton, perhaps through some high contact. Now he's going to be gone for holding the ball. Not before time. So the Bulldog fans, free kick count is 9 to 16. Now West, and they move it forward again through power.
That's a good kick. Murphy. And he goes in the Ackermanis direction, but Bell with contemptuous ease belting the ball away.
If I was Rodney Eade, I'd take Ackermanis off. He's just not working hard enough. Goes to ground too easily.
He's having no impact.
Well, he's got no impact, and that's what the Doggies look at him for. That's why they got him, so that in crunch games he could be the one who helped lead the way.
Byron Pickett is having some impact tonight. He got it to Neitz, and Neitz to Holland, a free kick.
In fact, Rodney Eade is trying to hide Ackermanis. The runner's gone out and told him to get out of the midfield because he's just not giving anything there. You go as deep forward as you can.
They're kicking to him high on a lead, aren't they? And Bell's got him covered for height.
But just watching him closely, Huddy, he's not chasing hard enough. He's not putting pressure on as a forward.
Mark Jamar can kick a goal. well within range. Won't kick a goal with that. I reckon that's the wrong side of the line. It is. It's a behind. The Demons extending their lead marginally. Really, the Bulldogs' lack of equipment at the business end of the ground just looks as though it's broken their collective spirits. Power to Williams here, and they'll have another go. But where do they head when they bring it in? Luke Darcy's up forward calling for it, and he'll shepherd that, and it'll go through for another behind. And the difference is 40.
Brad Johnson, we should remind you, out of the team tonight. He's only missed 5 games since making his debut. And, of course, he's played 296 games. Only missed 1 game since 2001. So it is something very unusual, not just for the coach, but for all his teammates, for him not to be there. He's such a beacon up forward. Nathan Jones with cross for company. Newton calling for it at centre-half forward. Can't get there. Oh, they made a mess of that, the Dogs' defence. Pickett, Cooney, Harris. Oh, boy.
Yeah, that just makes you realise the confidence is rock bottom, because Harris could have taken that football, put the pedal down. He had a player out on this wing, put it on his left boot and give him a chance. But they've just conceded, the Dogs.
It's a bit tragic at the moment, isn't it? They are not in the hunt, and they seem to know it. Power to Eagleton as they go forward again. Murphy, oh, what a good mark. Committing himself to every contest in which he's involved, and that was his most brilliant contribution, and that's good from Acker. Man on the mark, within 50, but it's testing range. There's Robert Murphy. Beautifully done. High degree of difficulty, mark with twist. Ackermanis from the set shot, just not getting the line right. Again, it's 40.
At least he got out in front of his opponent that time, Wolsey.
Yeah, the lead was good, the pass was good. Had to finish it off.
Great grab, wasn't it, from Murphy?
Well, Robert Murphy's been terrific tonight. Higgins has been good, but gee, it's hard to go find anyone past those two.
Here's young Jace Bode, recruited from Sturt in South Australia. 19-year-old left footer and handballer. Done. Bit of hesitation perhaps for the Demons. Eagleton senses he's a sniff here, but they'll get away. Jamar with the tumbler. James McDonald's on. Coming up for possession, 12. Newton, a good target across centre-half forward.
Will be a very good player for Melbourne, Newton.
Travis Johnston, 1 minute on the right, the next on the left. And Big Dutchie takes the mark.
It was Travis Johnson who set Pickett up with that goal, with the lovely little right foot chip pass, and now he goes on the left side and hits Dutchie Holland, who started the game so very well with 2 goals in the first quarter.
He's played 188 games now, Ben Holland. His brother played 179.
Is that right? So more than Nick.
More than Nick. And most would have thought that Nick was the more talented of the two. Of course, injuries played a big part in that. And he's played at both ends of the ground. We saw him about 6 weeks ago playing Anthony Rocker and do a great job.
Started his career with Richmond, of course.
Were you coaching him when he started?
I did. I taught him how to kick.
No comment.
Here's Davey. Oh, wasn't that clever and courageous? That wasn't so good. Game of errors at the moment. Jordan McMahon, who's given away 4 free kicks for the night, negotiates that situation safely, gives to Skipper, goes for Murphy. Good recovery by Murphy. Wheatley covered him well. Good tackle. Ball stays in. Still in. And Bell is able to mop it up. Jeff White's 250th shaping as a big one for the Demons. Bell managing to get it to Sylvia. Only just. Maloney hasn't placed that so well, although Robertson made it a contest. And now Johnston sits it up for Neitz. Harris did okay. Neitz almost a throw. Bulldogs have it covered. Everett to Williams. Ball rebounding off each back line with some rapidity. Power to Eagleton.
Can they find a way, the Dogs? Hackermanis. Again, it's out in front of him. This is where he can do some damage. McDougall was long. Higgins was short. Too short, as it turned out. And the Demons are able to mop up, clear it away. Through the middle they go. The thrust and parry from one end of the dome to the other. Jeff White for Green. An astute thinker and kicker generally. David Needs. The ball just wouldn't come back for him. Boyd a bit more nimble. And everyone looking to the umpire to do something.
Well, Hutto, 7.5 minutes before three-quarter time. If the Doggies don't get the next 3 goals before the final break, I reckon their season's shot. They desperately need 3 goals in about 7 minutes here.
They just don't look like it, do they?
Well, they've got to be direct. It's just too much handball, handball, handball. Look, they're running forward, then they go backwards.
And then, when they try and kick, there's too many in the way.
Not enough long direct kicks.
Davies loose. Let's see if he can come up with something. No, it's just a pass. Just stock standard stuff onto the chest of the leading forward. Let's see how good Ben Holland learnt the fundamentals from Robert Walls. Still probably got your voice in his head when he comes in to shoot for goal.
I like his grip.
The master teacher and the pupil puts it through.
We put hours and hours in, Hutto, at Punt Road. Until I got the chop.
47 points.
Well, let me put this to you, Tim. After tonight, the Bulldogs have got 3 more games. Adelaide in Adelaide, Hawthorn, and then the Kangaroos at Telstra Dome. How many will they win of those 3?
You couldn't see them getting close in any of them, quite frankly, on tonight. They looked like a beaten, dispirited team. And here go the Demons again. The Demons, remember, are 15th on the table, although they won't be after tonight. They'll climb a rung. Here's McMahon. Does he get a free? No, he doesn't.
Great desperation, isn't it?
Don't pretend you're not happy about that either, Tim.
No, we try and win every week, doesn't everyone? There's another goal. A brilliant goal from, it had to be, Robbo. His 3rd of the night, his 2nd of the quarter, and this is becoming a disaster for the Bulldogs.
Robbo kicks the goal, Tim, but the pats on the back go to Nathan Brown, who was so desperate that he was able to keep the ball locked in and cause that stoppage, which in turn gave the Demons a chance to take block and set themselves up for the goal. So Nathan Brown, well done. His desperation kept the ball in the Melbourne forward line. And the Melbourne supporters, those who've come to the game tonight, you're really happy for them. It's been a long, lean year.
And now it's out to 53 points. This is just stunning stuff, and they might ask, where has it been? Nathan Jones, McDonald, Davey is mown down that time. He's going to get a free. Wow, free kick count now 17-9. Yeah, certainly attracts a crowd pretty quickly to Zarin Davey. They know how dangerous he is. Doesn't look super confident of being able to score a goal from there. Newton, he was 3rd in line at the back. Hargrave, there's a bit of debris in the goal square, and they are a shambles at the moment. Advantage not paid, I don't think.
No, it'll go back. But again, just good defensive pressure in the Melbourne forward line.
You wouldn't be happy with that, would you? So you'd rather a set shot from 15 metres out.
Well, you would if it wasn't for the fact that the 15-metre snap went through for a goal.
Now there's Newton flying for the ball.
Could have been a free kick, really, couldn't it?
And just as good to see him run on. Yeah, that's a free kick. Incorrect disposal by Hargraves.
So here he is. He can fly and take a grab, kick 9 goals as well in the last 6 weeks since making his debut. They've found one, that's for sure, for the future.
Incorrect disposal from Hargrave. Spillage was seized upon by Nathan Brown, who thought he had his reward for his act a moment ago. Play was continuous. Brown ran on, kicked a goal.
Another Bulldog down. Daniel G and Syracusa there sitting on the Bulldogs bench. Has put his tracksuit top on. Hasn't received any treatment from the doctors as yet, but not looking too well.
This is as grim a night for a club as you can imagine. The Bulldogs are being thrashed by Melbourne, and their season is going down the drain. They get a free kick. Their fans think it's about time. And Luke Darcy takes a mark, gets himself into strife. Oh dear, it's all gone horribly pear-shaped. Here's Bell again running away from Ackermanis. Sylvia Everett with him. Well played, the young fellow in his 6th game. Shining beacon for the Bulldogs. Now Darcy again, he'll be circumspect this time. Still doesn't get a result. Since quarter time, the Demons kicked 11 goals to 2. And in fact, since quarter time, the Bulldogs have only had 1 goal kicker, and that's Robert Murphy.
Jamo with skipper. You'd almost call that a throw, but probably the right decision not to. Carroll.
I would call it a throw.
Okay, it was a throw then, Tim, but
have it your way.
Let's keep it moving, shall we? Everett for Scotty West. Now, could have had a shot, but he's always very perceptive. And Higgins, who has been anything but reliable in front of goal tonight, he's kicked 2-2, but I make this his 7th shot at goal. He's had a couple, one was smothered, another one that didn't score at all.
Bit of a Ben Cousins look-alike, Hutto. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, no, he is. Sort of. Wears 19, Cousins wears 9. He's kicked 3 for the night now. Been their only beacon up forward. Guess along with Murphy, 3 goals for Higgins, 2 for Murphy. Something like 23 minutes between goals for the Dogs.
Jared Rivers, Brock McLean, Cameron Bruce, Matthew Whelan, Daniel Ward on the left. They'd be pretty happy.
Reasons why Melbourne think they can resurrect quickly off this very disappointing season. And they'll take that into account as they decide who will coach them in 2008 and presumably beyond. Farron Ray to Cooney. Bulldogs have just kicked their 2nd goal of this quarter. Demons have kicked 6 in the meantime, and the horse is well and truly bolted. Eagleton takes it away from goal to Cooney. Well, this is where their problems are, up in the 50. They just have no targets, and it's not all their fault.
And just some forward momentum by the Demons. McDonald coming through at that boundary throw-in, sets up the Pickett goal. Aaron Davies on the burst. Not covered there by Cooney.
Here are the Bulldogs again. Cooney can have a go from out there. 45 out on the angle. Another miss.
They were sapped early too, weren't they, by their kicking at goal. It really didn't help their forwards.
And Russell Robertson, just a few minutes ago, again charging in at the stoppage with the momentum up. Hard to stop when players are going that hard and the ball comes their way.
52 points, the margin as we speak. And I reckon the Demons would be happy to get to three-quarter time with that margin still being the case.
It's just going to knock the stuffing out of the Western Bulldogs, a loss like this. So much at stake. And not only are they going to lose, they're going to lose by a big margin. So much promise last year. They were playing really good football this time last year. Won that final against Collingwood at the MCG. Everyone was so impressed. But I did hear Rodney Eade say over the last week or two that he believes this isn't their year, that they are building. The next 2 or 3 years is where the improvement will come.
Beautiful play by Ackermanis. They have gone down the path when they've had the injuries, Rob, of playing youngsters. They've found some like this boy in Tiller. And I mean, they could have gone back, and occasionally they have gone back to a couple of their older type, but they've tried a few. They've found a couple.
Williams is going to take time as a tall, skinny defender. Andreas Everett is going to be a super player, no doubt about that.
Tiller's been okay tonight. 8 possessions coming in for his second goal. Let's have a look at his kicking ability from 50. Well, there you go, poster. Nothing going their way at the moment. 7-13. Plays 16-10.
Not much left of the third quarter. But the job pretty well done here for the Demons.
50 metres! 50 metres! 50 metres, Aaron! Your kick, Aaron Davies' kick!
It only gets worse for the Dogs.
Aaron Davies' kick!
So I think we've got the hint there. 50 metres, Aaron Davies' kick.
50 metres is the greatest advantage.
And in the last minute, the Demons will look to extend the lead. They've had 4 lean weeks. They've had a very lean season. And they'll want to really enjoy this tonight, finish the job, inflict as much damage as they can.
Who was the great Melbourne player who wore 29, Hutto? Played in a lot of premierships before you were born.
Well, there's the answer for you, Rob.
Did he captain them and become their CEO in more recent years, Rob?
He did.
Hassaman, was it?
Hassaman.
Did you watch all those ones in the 50s, Rob?
Yes. John Lord, Barassi.
Got any more trivia questions for us?
Barry Bird. Norm Smith was inducted as a legend, of course, Tim, at the AFL Hall of Fame, where you compared. Wasn't it great to see some of the players that he coached there? Terrific.
Dunn goes for Robbo, who not for the first time tonight has gone down in a heap. He's taken a little longer to get up this time. Davey, the goal umpire had his hand up above his head as if the sun was in his eyes. I guess it was one of the lights shining. For a moment I thought it had been a Davey goal. It's Robbo. Last second of the third quarter. More misery for the Western Bulldogs. Their season is in tatters. Only 1 quarter to go and the Demons heading for their 4th win of the year.
Well, a 6-2 quarter in favour of Melbourne. Russell Robertson, David Neitz, Aaron Davey, their confidence is up. Dutchy Holland getting into it in that forward line. The back line holding firm. Jeff White enjoying his 250th game. Nathan Brown, the veteran, locking the ball into the forward line. Everything's going right for Melbourne. It hasn't for most of the year. Good on them. And, gee, these players going into the 3-quarter time break from Rodney Eade, I hope you're ready to get a blast.
This week, it's all eyes on the foot of the mountain for Monday Night Football on Fox Sports.
Have a look at this.
The Panthers take on the pride of North Queensland live across Australia.
And it's yee-haw for the Cowboys.
Can the top end boys and the deadly bow and arrow hit the target to grab a top 4 finish? Or will the Spoons spur on the big cats to claw back in the saddle? Don't miss the wild Western Sydney showdown. Penrith take on the Cowboys live Monday night on Fox Sports.
August on the How To channel welcomes the series return of Homes on Homes. And the break has obviously done the big fella a world of good.
This is a total trouble.
In his endless quest for perfection, Mike picks up the pieces for families who have fallen victim to bodgy builders.
What does it have to take before someone says, you got to go to jail?
Step inside Luke's workshop.
I'll show you a range of great projects that you can build at home.
With each episode dedicated to a single task, you'll get a complete and comprehensive understanding of the job at hand.
From tools and materials right the way through to the finishing touches.
Witness the real elements of the interior design process in Design Inc. Sarah Richardson and her design team customise solutions for their clients, resulting in uniquely stylish spaces that will inspire. It's all in August on the How To channel.
Rewind your weekend and re-queue for the ultimate footy review, Monday nights on Fox Sports. From 7:30, go ground to ground across the round with Clinton Gribus as he hosts the comprehensive AFL highlight show, The Winners. Then live at 8:30, settle onto the couch with Jared, Mike and Wolsey as they kickstart the footy week with uncompromising analysis of the latest news, results and opinions. AFL Monday from 7:30, Fox Sports 1.
Go! Next weekend, Fox Sports. Tennis. Cincinnati, the stage for the ultimate warm-up before the Grand Slam showdown. All the finals live. MotoGP. Invincible at Laguna Seca.
Casey Stoner is the man.
The Red Ducati continues its assault in the Czech Republic. Sunday, live. From the footy codes. AFL Saturday, not to be missed. Bombers Blues and Swans Lions live. Plus NRL, the crush to make or break for the 8th live.
Yes, baby, yes!
Next weekend, Fox Sports.
Wake up every morning with Fox Sports News.
Oh my goodness!
Give us 15 minutes and we'll update you with all the overnight results and top stories of the day with the Morning Rush from 6.
Casey Stoner with the US Grand Prix.
Or from 8, we serve up a daily intake of all the sports action, previews and hot topics with the morning news.
Best story in footy this year.
What a way to start your day. With Fox Sports News. It's on all the time.
Know your English Premier League? Think you can manage the best of English football? Then join Fox Sports Fantasy EPL and create the ultimate Premier League squad. Buy your players and build your team. There's prizes throughout the season. Sign up now. You could win a share in $10,000 cash. Register now at foxsports.com.au. Create your own team and follow your players and the English Premier League with Fox Sports. AFL, it's down to the business end of the season, and Fox Sports has got you covered with 4 live games every week. This August on Fox Sports.
Right from the start, Melbourne tonight showed that they meant business with a physical statement. The Dogs needed to find ways to goal without Brad Johnson. Tiller kicked an early one, but Robertson responded, and the Demons certainly meant business. Cooney was prominent, but even he made some mistakes. It was going to be a long night for Rodney Eade. Lyndon Dunn unveiled in the middle, kicked a couple of handy goals. They were coming from everywhere for the Demons, and when there's goals to be kicked, Russell Robertson is never far away. And by three-quarter time, the celebrations have begun. For a fairly sparse crowd at the Telstra Dome, the Demons on their way to their 4th win of the season, 16-11-107 to 7-13-55. The Dogs' finals chances are in tatters, and we're going to have a closer look about what that all means in just a moment when we check on the live ladder. But there's Rodney Eade. Maybe he can come up with something. 52 points is one heck of a lot, Robert Walls.
Well, it is, Hutto. They're not going to win this game. I think the biggest margin at three-quarter time to come back is 44 points.
Let's go down to Christy Malthouse. Been busy down there tonight, Christy.
Thank you, Anthony. It has, and we mentioned Daniel G in Syracusa making his way to the Bulldogs bench again with the tracksuit top on, often a sign that they're not going to come back on. He's got no visual signs of injury at all. He hasn't been treated by the doctors, so perhaps he's suffering from an illness of some sort. So there'll actually be 2 players down heading into this last term. Russell Robertson was just cramping in his calf. He's been worked on and he'll be right.
All right, we saw the score there in Sydney, a 1-point lead to St Kilda. What does that mean, you ask? Let's show you with the live ladder, and we'll come back and show that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. Here's the start of the last quarter, Tim.
It could be good news for the Bulldogs, couldn't it? They might find themselves only out on percentage yet.
Amazing.
Here go the Demons, in front by 50 points plus, and they'll mount the first serious attack. Here's James McDonald lurking. Got a crowded 50 to put the ball into. So what does he make of this? Robertson circling for him. Goes the roost. Robbo's there, so's Big Ben, and he's got it again. The Sorcerer's Apprentice will line them up.
What he will do is keep his eye on the ball and go hard at it, and his opponent McDougall, you can see McDougall behind there, just he doesn't even get anywhere near him to get a fist on the football. And that is just too easy. The ball was set up in the air for a long, long time. It was really spoiling practice, and he just couldn't get near it.
He's taken the Robert Walls length run up. He has 3 for the night. He has 4. He split the high diddle-diddle. Were you his marking coach too, Rob?
Taught him everything, Tim.
Just needs to grow that beard a bit, doesn't he, if he's going to take on Wolsey's persona?
The only thing I didn't like was the glove. I don't know if he needs to have a glove.
It's all come together for him about 8 years late.
And I think Dutchy Holland might be playing for his career, Tim, and he's kicked 4 goals. And might be setting himself up for another year of AFL football.
Well, he's closing in on 200 games, and that'd be a mighty achievement. Jeff White's played 250, and they are going to celebrate that tonight, I think, judging by what we've seen so far. 58 points the margin. Boyd, Murphy, and that's a good pass. Hargrave, we've seen defenders forward and forwards back tonight.
Yeah, well, Ryan Hargrave moved into the forward line to start this final quarter, Hutto, and gets his opportunity. You know who Melbourne play next week?
Collingwood.
Oh. And you reckon the Magpies might be sitting at home a little bit toey after what they did last night and what Melbourne's doing tonight?
Goal to the Dogs. Yes, the plot thickens, doesn't it, in terms of the run to the final? Well, it's amazing.
It's just amazing. And, you know, Friday night, Collingwood and Melbourne, they'll get a terrific crowd there. So all the Melbourne supporters will be going, hoping they can knock off the Pies. And they'd have to be given a chance, Tim. Because Collingwood were pretty disappointing last night.
So the difference back to 52 points. Melbourne's way, if you've tuned in late. Jeff White and his 250th. Oh, down to a very stylish Russell Robertson with a probing left footer. Neats there, Davey there, just couldn't get the hook on the ball. Melbourne by 53. Brisbane going down this afternoon. The Dogs going down. It's still alive in Sydney, of course. This could open the door for Adelaide. If they knock off Geelong tomorrow, Hutto, they could be in the 8.
Well, that's a pretty tough task, Tim, but there's Fremantle as well. If they beat Essendon, they've got St Kilda next Saturday afternoon, which will be a beauty as well. Here's Darcy heading into the pocket. Murphy going to get a free. He also looks like he's in a bit of pain. How serious is the pain? Emanating from his back by the look of it.
That's his 10th mark. It'll be his 20th disposal. He's played an excellent game.
Moved around, gave it off to Acker. To full forward, Higgins and Hargrave and about 5 Melbourne defenders. And they're a bit slack on that occasion. Goal to Higgins. He's kicked 4. And they've kicked a couple in a row. And it's back to 47 points. And Nathan Carroll having trouble coming to terms with it.
Higgins flew and crumbed.
Bit of friendly fire for Carroll, copping the blow to the knee from Brad Green.
Higgins and Murphy have kicked 6 of the Bulldogs' 9 between them. Eagleton, Tiller and Hargrave in this quarter, the only other contributors to their goal tally. But he's a ray of hope, Sean Higgins. The difference 47. White beating Darcy there. Cross running into trouble. Here's Murphy fighting to the bitter end. Byron Pickett will get a free kick. Darcy falling on his back, and he knew it. Thumping the ground. Darcy, that is. Now Green. It's a good kick. White. And he goes for the aerialists. Ben Holland was there, but he had a few against him that time, and Morris took it pretty comfortably. Gives to Boyd. Just kicking a little too strongly there, but Robert Walls wasn't Ben Holland's tackling coach, and he gives away a free kick to Eagleton. Williams, good effort by Travis Johnston to hold him up. Cooney back in the Williams direction. Oh, running into the jaws of death. Holding the ball.
Well, the tackle with intent from the Demons has been there from the start of this game. The Demons average 56 tackles a game. Already they're up to 61.
Ferguson, couple of options breaking and opening up on the outer side. Newton with McDougall. Well played, McDougall, that time. He did have feel of his opponent, was able to move it in the Murphy direction. And that's a much better matchup for the Dogs than Bell playing on Ackermanis. Murphy just a bit stronger in the air. And Andrew McDougall, another one playing for his career, perhaps after taking such a long time between his second and third games with the Western Bulldogs this year after being recruited from the Eagles. But it's Robert Murphy who we have our eyes on now, and this is a good sign for the future. It's taken a while, but Robert Murphy getting back to his best for the Dogs. The margin is now 41.
Three goals to Robert Murphy, 4 goals to Sean Higgins. They've got 7 out of the Bulldogs' 10. With Brad Johnson not playing, the Bulldogs certainly needed to get contributions from Ackermanis, Gian Siracusa and Cooney. They haven't.
Kicked the last 3 goals, the Dogs. If Malcolm Blight's 3-goal rule comes into play here, we could have a contest.
What about his 7-goal rule?
Yes, he only pulls that out on special occasions. Cross to Ray. Here's Skipper. Hang on to the ball and then kick it. He does. Not to great advantage, though.
Courage stood his ground, Brad Green.
Yes, Hargrave was coming hard, but Green didn't flinch. Placement of the kick, not great from Skipper. Now Green getting himself into a bit of bother.
Slung him to the ground.
Comes out of it with another free kick. Now this is Wheatley for the D's. The margin's still 41. They're comfortably placed. Nathan Brown soaking up a bit of time here. Green again, adding to his stats. Oh, this man, Dutchie Holland, is everywhere. 4 goals up front. Doing a bit of running around the paddock at the moment. Robertson's kicked 3 goals. Ferguson.
Well, imperative that the Doggies go one-on-one. They've had more than enough time to make sure that they get an opponent each.
And Melbourne just being a little careful here, you fancy. They've done all the hard work. They don't want to get themselves into strife late in the night, give the Bulldogs a sniff. Morris placing it for Eagleton. Ackermanis is on the loose. Now, can he break? He can't, but he can bomb it into an open 50, and Higgins was in good position. Frawley, though, did all right. Gives to Carroll. Goes very wide. So there'll be a throw-in.
Let's have a look at the live ladder, and maybe percentage could still play a part in the Bulldogs' endeavours to make the 8. As we can see, that's with St Kilda losing tonight. They trail by just 3 points at the moment, and their percentage is 3 clear of the Western Bulldogs. So even if the Dogs don't win tonight, if they could fight back, you never know, it could play a part in the coming weeks. But as we mentioned, with their run home, it looks highly unlikely at this stage. We'll keep you informed in that.
Young Frawley injured, leaving the field.
The injuries to Chris Grant and Daniel Giansiracusa shouldn't be underestimated too, and the impact they've had tonight. Not that you would use it as an excuse for them not winning, but certainly in modern footy, being one man down early, Wallsy, doesn't help, and then when you lose Giansiracusa as well before half-time, it makes it tough.
Well, that's right, and Chris Grant started the game playing as a defender, and there's Frawley getting injured. I think he may have strained a calf.
With that Frawley grimace going. Eagleton and Davey. And Davey will get a free. And he's been a really good sign for Melbourne tonight. Aaron Davey had a spasmodic sort of season. Here's the big Dutch again. Done a bit of everything. Now Jeff White in the 250th. Can he go all the way here? No, he does the disciplined thing. Robertson in the middle. Went the leap. Brown the easy crumb. And he misses. That was a defender's kick. Demons by 42.
Well, they could have raffled it. And Byron says, what about me?
The agony of it all from Nathan Brown. Eagleton forced to spoil. There's a free kick. And it's Davies free again. He's attracted a lot of free kicks tonight, Aaron Davey. We don't have to let anyone know about what a threat he is. Going short first. Travis Johnston's turn to spill the beans. Tries to adjust on the left. Everett's coming. Didn't hang on. Slick work from Morris initially. Too much on it from the Harris handball for Cooney. Going to get out of trouble.
Overdo the handball.
Oh, Williams, they have been handball happy tonight, that's for sure. Cooney out to the wing. Everett, who we saw at centre-half back a moment ago. Not the best of kicks. There's a free kick. Advantage. I think normally that might have been an advantage, but Westy had been running pretty hard and didn't have much left in the tank. Happy to let Murphy take the kick. Heads in the Harris and Hargrave direction. The two H's go up. Hargrave stayed down. Ferguson. Sylvia. Wheatley. Nathan Brown missing an easy shot a moment ago, and now clearing the line, finding Davey and Johnston. And I think I'm struggling going about the same rat power as the Bulldogs at the moment. Over to you, Tim.
Oh, it happens in these thrilling contests, Hutto. It's all a bit much for us sometimes. David Neitz, goalless tonight. Nathan Brown, and he gives to Robertson, well within range. The angle, the tester. Young Frawley still in a state of discomfort. Robertson gives it off. It's Jeff White's night, and they'd love to give him a goal.
Inside 50s for the game are even, which is an indication that the Bulldogs have broken down across their forward line. You know, Robert Murphy's been good, Sean Higgins has been good, but beyond you need more than two forwards, and they desperately need somebody who can take a mark. And if I was Rodney Eade, that would be a priority over Summer, maybe a bloke called Favola.
Similar shot to that one that was the winning goal 2 years ago. Doesn't get the same result here, but the Demons are going to get the same result at the end of the night. They're 43 points in front. I don't think Carlton will want to give him up, will they, Rob? He's played very disciplined and good footy the last 3 weeks.
Under the new coach, Tim.
What would you give up if you were Rodney Eade, Walsey, in order to get Brendan Favola?
First round draft pick.
First round. It's going to be a reasonably high one, the way things are looking. You happy to do that?
Yes.
All right. Bell. Ackermanis. Couldn't break the chain completely. Set up Hargrave.
Well, the reason why, Hutto, Brad Johnson's kicked 53 goals this year. Then it goes to Cooney on 25, Gian Syracuse at 20, Higgins is about 24 now. There's not a tall player in the Bulldogs team who averages a goal a game.
It's a sound argument.
Yeah, they've got
people have been very wary of giving away first-round picks in recent years, haven't they? Because it can come back to bite you.
Yeah, you're right, but I just think the Western Bulldogs are at a state. They've got some very good young talent. They've got 3 or 4 stars who are ageing stars. Their time is now.
Robertson, that's a beautiful kick. Good vision, perfect weight. Good result. Travis Johnston can line them up. And he looks a man hell-bent on having a shot.
Have a look at that.
He doesn't want to watch. Shocking night for the Bulldogs. And the glum looks of the fans say it all. They came here favourites to win tonight. Although when you looked at the teams, you really wondered why. Johnston to stretch the margin. And he does by 1. It's 43 points.
Yeah, I saw Hawthorn play today, Hutto, and they've got 3 tall forwards, Franklin, Roughhead and Boyle.
Yep.
They took something like 22 marks, the Hawks, inside their forward 50, and shared the goals amongst those taller players. Well, there's not a tall player in this Bulldogs team that can kick a goal.
Here's Farron Ray. The long target, Higgins and Cooney. And he reckons he's a better bet going all the way himself. That's something we haven't seen enough of tonight. Haven't seen enough of their midfielders running inside the 50 to actually put goals on the board. Back to 37 points the difference.
So they've kicked the last 4.
Tim, you were building them up and the comeback before. Is there plenty of time if they're good enough?
Close enough if good enough.
Ridiculous.
Margin 37 points. West and Murphy on the bench. You don't get the feeling the Bulldog camp entertains for one moment the possibility that a miracle could be worked.
Keep it moving!
Nathan Jones reefing it out for Melbourne. He's a strong young man. That's Jace Bode, the Melbourne debutant. 39th player they've used this year.
Look at that, Tim. Disposals for the match. They're the highest. That includes Melbourne players. And Melbourne's highest disposal is Travis Johnson with 21.
Oh, Sylvia just breaking away with that. And the Demons kick an answering goal. Nowhere for McDougall to go there. And the spillage was a gift for Colin Sylvia. Kicks and hand passes on the Bulldogs stats board are having a keen contest at the moment. It's kicks by 1, 162 to 161.
Been a pretty quiet night for Colin Sylvia, who is back into the Melbourne team. Some have seen enough. They're taking their plastic bags and bottles and heading home. Cooney. Plenty of depth on that kick. It's set up for Higgins after Skipper couldn't take the grab. And he ran out of puff and legs and everything else. Four goals as we check the handball.
Well, just have a look at that. Bulldogs 66 to 32 in the first quarter, 31-23, 39-33, 25-7. They've absolutely overpossessed the football.
Here's Everett. Another blunder. Green delayed it for as long as he could, but overwhelmed out there by the Bulldogs. Hargrave sets it up. From behind, Tiller kept it alive. Cooney couldn't get the ball on the end of the stick. At least not yet. He's still trying. Jones is getting through somehow. Wheatley. Green licks the lips. Can see plenty of space to glide through. Had Davey going past initially, then done. Pretty open up forward. Neitz will have to be very clever from there to get back. Harris didn't complete the job. And now he's got more issues. Neitz tries to barge through about 4. And in his heyday, he might have just about been able to do it. But
it's going to be a big week at Demonland this week. David Neitz coming up for his 300th game. Only Melbourne player to reach that milestone.
And they'll beat Collingwood, Wolsey?
Well, it's massive motivation, isn't it? And he's more games as captain than anyone at Melbourne. More games, more goals, more years as captain. He's just about got the lot, Nita, except the premiership.
Well, the general impression of Lower Clever West to Ray, that was well done. They enjoyed teaming up. And Farron Ray's got a bit more in his youthful legs than Scotty West in his rather older ones. Now Ray has to stop and think about it. He hopes that Skipper might be able to give them something. Now Darcy at ground level, not really where he likes to be, but he did pretty well. Everett up there and off the ground Tiller. Another behind. Just a general impression. Here comes Russell Robertson.
I was just watching him a moment ago.
Yeah.
He's actually hurt himself reasonably badly, Russell Robertson. He desperately want to play next week, I reckon, in Neitz' 300th.
Well, he's coming off crab-like.
Like you the other day with gout, Wellesley. Bell to the wing.
I hate that word, gout.
Why is that?
That's an awful word.
Throw in on the wing. J-Mark cross got around the would-be opponent. There was actually no one there. He was able to work it out. West, Cooney. Oh, they're going backwards. You know when Davies circling that you're in trouble. And the referred pressure with a bit of help from Colin Sylvia has produced another free kick. And the Demons can surge once more. The margin 42. Sylvia from a standing start. Finds Brown. Off to Travis Johnston. He's an important player in their makeup. There's no doubt about that. Ray takes the mark. And Travis Johnston's had another year, like you mentioned with Davey. It's been not the greatest. He's played 11 games, but just hasn't had the usual impact.
Cross with some support there. Jordan McMahon giving it to West. It's been pretty well contained tonight. Wheatley attacking that and taking it out of bounds.
Which team's got the better list, Tim? Melbourne or Carlton?
In the immediate term, I'd say Melbourne, but I think Carlton are on the way. They're showing something at the moment.
Another honourable loss.
That's what you ordered, wasn't it, Rob?
Yes, we needed about 6 of those. Got 3.
Being very mischievous, Hutto. No one tanks.
It's going to be a big game in the round 22, isn't it, when they play Melbourne?
Carlton have got Essendon next week too, which is an interesting one. Bulldogs with numbers here. Everett, McMahon. All the steam out of this game. They were a long way from home. Here's Hutto's little mate, Farron Ray. Cross. He goes for Skipper. Got the jockeying right, couldn't hang on to the mark. This is Ferguson leading in the race for it. And that was good. Did just the right thing and set up Nathan Brown. Very short pass, and Farron Ray doing some good work at the moment. Hargrave to cross. And it has been heavy weather for the Bulldogs all night. In fact, the hand passes have gone way past the kicks on their stats board. It's 181 to 173 at the moment. And Brad Green has just taken Melbourne's 95th mark for the night, and that's number 96. Ben Holland, he's kicked 4, unselfishly gives it off, and Nathan Brown, who missed a sitter with a snapshot earlier in the quarter, can try and make amends here. Demons by 42. 4th win of the season. Will take them above Carlton. Well, another man giving it off, and Wheatley, who is a long kick of the ball. That's a thundering effort, and he's put it through. The Demons go further ahead.
Wheatley's weapon kicks another goal.
It's a smart play because Nathan Brown's absolutely exhausted. He couldn't have kicked it more than 40 metres, so he knew he was limited. And he just waited for Wheatley, who's the designated... couple of Bulldog supporters there.
Look at that bloke with the brown jacket on, doesn't he? He looks...
I've seen him
deathly.
in a few Bulldogs games. He'd be devastated by what's happened tonight. He hasn't got many friends, has he?
No, quite a few of them have left, I think it's fair to say.
Should we name names?
He is a producer of some sort, I believe. Here is Johnston. He's a producer normally. Produces lovely kicks into the forward line. Davey lurking. Here's McMahon on the way out. Now, this is Cross. 48 points the difference. Daniel Cross, high one. Ackermanis West waiting down. Comes into play nicely. Put his whole body into the handball. Likewise, Boyd. Some of their more impressive player of the night. Power sets it up for full forward. Darcy had the right idea. He had Higgins at his feet, and Higgins might kick his 5th. And the crowd can barely raise a whimper. Five goals for Sean Higgins. Some polite clapping, and that's about it.
Well, it's a pretty good contribution, isn't it? In a team that's been thrashed.
Yeah, Higgins and Murphy are the shining lights tonight.
Luke Darcy did some good work in there.
Kept it alive, didn't he?
Not a big crowd tonight, as you would have gathered by now. Under 20,000. Seen too many matches at the Dome this year under 20,000 people, have we?
That's true. It's had some tremendous matches and crowds to match that.
And it's one reason, Tim, I know you spoke to Steve Harris at half-time, why Melbourne, I guess, have had to seriously consider Kevin Sheedy. This is a Melbourne home game. Obviously, there's not a lot of joy for Melbourne fans to turn up to, but they have struggled for crowd numbers.
They have, although curiously their membership's been up 13% this year to, I think, above 28,000.
It is curious, isn't it?
It is not reflected by the numbers here tonight, and for the Bulldogs too. I mean, they're playing for a spot in the 8, and they haven't been able to pull 20,000. Bit of a worry for both clubs. Dunn. Long ball. Holland is there again. His marking's been excellent tonight. White. Brad Green hoiking it away, but straight to West. Harris just giving it up to Pickett. Andreas Everett, more handball from the handball hapless Bulldogs. Hargrave for the handball hapless Bulldogs. Wheatley beating Murphy to it, so a throw-in coming up. But Robert Murphy, one of the few for the Dogs who really can hold his head high. He writes a good game and he plays one as well. But Rodney Eade's seen enough. The Demons are back on the winning list. Their 4th win of the season in Jeff White's 250th game. A black night for the Bulldogs.